AFL action, round 16 for the 2021 season. Subiaco taking on South Fremantle as we just pan in across the ground. It's a couple of threatening clouds looming at the moment, but two of the form teams coming into this one. Subiaco, after their bye in round 10, where the Lions were 7-1, they've dropped their next two games to West Coast Eagles and Swan Districts, but they've steadied the ship in recent times by beating Perth and West Coast to reclaim top spot heading into this round on percentage. However, the Claremont Tigers, defeating East Fremantle by 43 points yesterday, have reclaimed that, but a chance for Subiaco to then again leapfrog in this game of WAFL musical chairs, so it seems. Well, South Fremantle, the visitors, a shock loss to the Royals here in round 10 has seen the Bulldogs respond by winning their last three, and a gutsy win over Claremont and a convincing smashing of Swan Districts has the Bulldogs back into flag contention heading into today's game of the round. So Subiaco currently in second, as I said, can reclaim top spot. They are 9-3. South Fremantle sitting there in fourth on percentage at the moment. Their record 9-3 also. Well, all time, it seems as though this contest has been dominated by South Fremantle. They've played 351 times, with the Bulldogs prevailing 185 times out of that. Now, they've already met once back in round 5 this season in 2021, where the Bulldogs, 12-8-80, ran out winners over the Lions 9-8-62. That margin, 18 points. Just a couple of scores to keep you abreast of what's happening so far in Optus round 16. Claremont, as I said, defeating East Fremantle by 43 points. West Perth getting up over Peel Thunder thanks to Tyler Keitel's 7 goals by 24 points. East Perth were defeated here by West Coast. They finished strong late, but they just couldn't get over the line. They lost by 2 points. And Swan Districts, more or less, booking their spot in the top 5 with a 24-point win over Perth. Time for a quick break. When we come back, we'll take an eye over the two teams and have a look at some of the key numbers and preview round 16, the final fixture of Optus WAFL action. We'll be right back.
Shutterguard has been installing Perth's best shutters for over 30 years. With no advertising signs on your front lawn and no sales gimmicks, visit shutterguard.com.au.
Leaderville Oval, the scene, as we have a look at Lee Kitchen heading in for the coin toss, round 16. It's the final game of the round. As you can see, Subiaco taking on South Fremantle. Both teams locked in at 9 wins and 3 losses. And Lee Kitchen, he has been superb again throughout the season. He's 10th in the competition for disposals, 2nd for inside 50s. 22 touches and 9 tackles back in round 5. And Mason Shaw has won the toss, kicking to the left of screen. And as we have a look at him, we can have a look at some of his numbers. 33 goals so far. He's in a race with Tyler Keitel, you would imagine, for the Bernie Naylor medal. But Keitel giving a little bit more breathing room yesterday. Kicked 7 goals. And Shaw was held goalless just once so far this season. That was a couple of rounds ago against East Perth. But he had 5 goals last week. So should be a fantastic matchup. Matt Churches is my name. Is calling all the action courtesy of Front Row Screens, and we welcome for the first time this afternoon my co-commentator in Luke Worthington.
Hey Matt, good to be here. Huge afternoon of footy. Conditions hopefully going to hold up well, and both of these teams come steaming into this competition.
This man currently on screen, Greg Clark, the number 12, 7th in disposals, 2nd in tackles and 4th for inside 50s. He really does do it all, but I am scratching my head as to how this man has only ever won 8 votes in the Sandover medal count across 86 games in his career, but I'm sure after an outstanding season he's going to add to that, and fair to say should double that total. But he's going to be a handful this afternoon, you would imagine, for the Bulldogs, someone that they're going to need to put the stops on. And we have a look at one of the superstars of the competition, Hayden Schloith. No trouble for this man gaining votes in the Sandover, 183 of those in his career. He's actually won it in 2017 and another top 5 finish back in 2019. He was on fire the last times these two teams met, should I say, Luke. 39 touches back in round 5, 9 marks, 2 goals and 9 tackles, and you figure that he will feature prominently this afternoon.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And a couple of the last few rounds, you do see him working in a different role. You see him pushed up further forward a little bit, and because of that, the disposal numbers have dropped off, but his role to the team has been crucial.
Well, the 2 best tackling teams meet this afternoon, and it's going to be interesting as we have a look at Mason Shaw. As we said, 30-plus goals. Ben Sokol snapping at his heels, and they're all trying to catch Tyler Keitel at the moment. As I have a look at Jordan Lockyer as the man that's going to have to try and put the handcuffs on him this afternoon. He's coming off a pretty impressive game last round, as we said earlier, 5 goals last week, and to go along with that, 10 marks. So the players getting into position. South Fremantle kicking to the left of screen, Subiaco to the right of screen, and there is a very strong breeze blowing directly across the ground. It's going to be an interesting matchup in the ruck because no Delahunty, no Brock Higgins, hasn't played since round 10. So a couple of almost rookies going head to head. Oscar Matthews, just 22 years old, taking on Hamish Free, who's got 1 year on him, but it's only his 6th game. So interesting to see how Oscar Matthews shapes up. It's only his 3rd game in the WAFL. Had 16 hitouts last week against West Coast, and in particular Nathan Vardy. As we're about to get this final fixture of the Optus WAFL season round 16 is underway, and South Fremantle with the first clearance. Manfred Kelly lays the first tackle of the afternoon, doesn't allow the ball carrier any room to dispose of the football there, so the umpire will call for it. Secondary stoppage. Looks as though Lewis Putt is starting in the ruck. Can push forward, he's kicked 4 goals this season. So the early turnover, and it's brought laterally. McQuilkin brings it back to the true centre-half back position. That's a spearing pass. Didn't have enough on it. Drew Road just goes in and takes the mark. Matera plays on immediately, and South Fremantle trying to scramble back. Couldn't do so in time. And Harry Marsh, another one of the Subiaco Lions players, is having an outstanding season, can go back and have the first set shot of the afternoon. He's played all 31 games of his career. Obviously he was on the Sydney Swans list. Brother John O'Marsh, a superstar for the Sharks. How's this for a record, Luke? He's played 31 games in the WAFL and won 26 of them. Oh. Fair to say he'd be familiar with the club song. Marsh has kicked 10-9 on the season. This will take his best effort. We'll need to start it at the right-hand goal post. He does that, but it didn't come back in the stiff breeze and through for a minus score. Our first on the Shutterguard scoreboard has taken 1.5 minutes. South Fremantle to bring the ball back in.
So not quite for Harrison Marsh that time. Was perfect last week, 2 goals straight. Week before struggled a little bit, kicked 5 points as it gets cleared out of the South Fremantle back line. Tapped down, snapped around the body, and good hands over the top from Jimmy Miller. Playing on, they move it up the wing. Marks taken on the far side. South Fremantle slowing things down a little bit now. They're going to move it slightly in as they kick it towards left centre half forward, and a strong mark is taken down by Schlensog.
He's done that throughout the season, Luke. 4th in the competition for marks, but started the season down back, but they've pushed him forward.
So he bombs it inside 50, going up for it, and Sleuth collects it off the ground. Handball went out of there. Subiaco looked to have pounced on it. Ball getting pinballed around a little bit as it gets snapped out of there, and Schlensog again takes it in with a strong pair of hands. Kicking it back, it's Chad Pearson. And they're going to reset and get the ball back inside 50. Kick goes in from Pearson. It goes to ground, collected by South Fremantle. Now a shot on goal. Doesn't look like it has all it needed. Out of bounds on the full.
And this is what makes Subiaco the toughest team to score against. On average, Luke, they're only giving up 16 scoring shots a game. South Fremantle will be able to counter that because they actually kick at 62% in the season. But Subiaco, they're just so tough across half back at the moment.
So the ball going out of there, they all went up for it. South Fremantle looked to be pounced on by the numbers that Subiaco had at the footy. Kitchen trying to move around Kelly, handballed it out of there. Not quite. South Fremantle pouncing on it. The handball gets out of there. It goes towards Donaldson, who kicks it inside, and Slensog right there with a strong pair of hands. South Fremantle with their first opportunity of the afternoon.
Love the start that obviously Schlensog's made. That's his third mark of the game, all contested, but they finally get a bit of reward. And Manfred Kelly's had a tenacious start to the game.
4 goals won last week for Slensog. 9 marks, had a lot of the footy. And he puts up their first of the afternoon. And a brilliant passage by Schlensog from start to finish there. He got them inside 50 the first time. Kept them back inside 50 when the ball was rebounded out, and then took the mark to kick his first of the afternoon, Matt.
Yeah, look, and enjoying his time up forward too, thanks to CD Dodd. Wonderful supporters, as are Shutterguard and front row screens. And well, it was bound to happen. They had a couple of entries. Subiaco looking to put a fist through the footy, and then just a quick re-entry back inside 50 after a bit of fantastic half-forward pressure from Manfred Kelly. And we can't underestimate how good that tackle was. That left half forward that led to that stoppage, and then the re-entry inside 50. So first blood going the way of the Bulldogs. If you just joined us, 1 straight to 1 behind, and no real advantage with the breeze as its windsock is almost horizontal, blowing straight across the ground. The ground is looking in good condition too, despite the rain that we've had, and also East Perth playing West Coast reserves here yesterday. 1 down by Putt to the front of the pack. Kitchen just wheels out of trouble, scrags a kick forward, nutmegs the centre half back. Oh, that's a strong tackle. It is. Ball gets jarred loose. Strom in on hands and knees. They feed it out wide now to Subiaco. Hurried kick around the corner. No intended target. Well spoiled in the end, and in come all contenders, and the umpire will need to extract the football for another stoppage. Get a good look, our first look at how South Fremantle set up from behind the ball. Now there's a hold, and it's going the way of Subiaco. So the free kick was there. It's going the way of Kitchen. Maybe that's one way that they can stop this prodigious ball winner. That was illegal in the end, so chance for him to go back. He's only just over 50%, isn't he? Luke, he's kicked 4 goals, 3 this season. 32 touches last week. Will kick from 32 metres, and that is an absolute shocker. Off the side of the boot. Brought down to ground level. Running out of tarmac there was Chad Pearson, and hand pass is battered down over the line, and a chance for another stoppage. Well, 10th in disposals, Lee Kitchen, but I dare say you'd want that last one back.
Not quite.
Very high toss in from the boundary umpire. 1 down by Putt, another whistle, and it's a high free kick going the way of either Schleuf or
Free.
the big ruckman. So Hamish Free. What an outstanding introduction into the season 2021, having to replace the huge shoes, literally and metaphorically, of Brock Higgins. Towards Schlensog, couldn't reel it in this time. Walking the tightrope, Subiaco. Here's Kitchen after a series of hand passes, just tumbles one in, end over end. The intended target inside 50 was brought, and the players will fall to ground. Good strong work there from South Fremantle, particularly Matthew Ward, not allowing the ball carrier any room, and we've got another stoppage in the right forward pocket.
Subiaco's forward pressure has been strong so far. They look good defensively, but Slensog managed to overpower them earlier. As Kitchen, just managed to get a boot on it. It was There's a good little play there as it heads towards the boundary and dribbles over. There was good intention in that one, so it will be a boundary throw in. Kitchen, like you said, Matt, 32 disposals last week. Hasn't dropped under 20 all season. Rarely drops below 30 as well as play continues. Rebounds back inside 50. Sloyth has a bit of room to run on and attempt to get it out of there. Ward was there too. He kicks it deep, and a strong mark is taken in by Subiaco, who are going to back up here.
And Lee Kitchen already up to 6 disposals, and Chad Pearson playing across half-back has 5 for the Bulldogs.
So the kick in by Stainsby gets straight to ground. Numbers converging in on the pack. Subi trying to move it around, and a good play there by Subin to collect it. Kicking it out wide. Nearly brought in. And managing to crumb it was Bell Chambers, but the ball's going to go out of bounds one more time.
You wouldn't think that these two teams are maybe the benchmark so far this season as the reigning premiers and the team that was coming in on top of the table, because the disposal's been a little scrappy at the moment. The delivery probably not what the forwards are used to.
A little bit, but the pressure has been good coming the other way as well, and that might be the difference as Sloyth moved it out to Bell Chambers. He snapped it around, and the mark's taken in by Subiaco. They're going to kick it back and try and switch it out to the far wing. Pearson's an option, but he'll hold it and kick it the other way to Rode. Ball's going back to Rode again. Numbers running across the field for Subiaco as they chip it through the middle. Under pressure, had a few numbers around him. Clark with the footy now. Managed to hand it out to Stainsby, who gets wrapped up hard in a tackle. Bit of a hospital handball there as he goes straight to ground, but the umpire will take it in. So nearly 10 minutes gone in this one. No goals, 1 Subiaco. 1 goal zip, 6 South Fremantle as the free kick goes to Sloyth out of the contest. He kicks it inside 50 nicely, and a good mark is taken in. And South Fremantle again, a shot on goal. Brendan Donaldson, the man for this one.
What Subiaco can't afford, Luke, this afternoon is just giving away needless free kicks at stoppages. That's 3 in probably the space of 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden they get another re-entry inside 50, so it's something they need to clean up.
So Donaldson here. Kicks it towards, didn't get all of it, but the mark's taken in, the snap around the body, and they score their 2nd of the afternoon.
Cody Ninyet.
And Ninyet did a good job there. We'll see it on the CD dot replay as they move 2 goals ahead. South Fremantle.
Such an enigmatic player. Ninyet, he's kicked 29 now, and there's a really interesting tussle just to win the goal kicking award for South Fremantle at the moment, and for them to have such a big, tall key forward in Shaw, and then someone that can do things like that, jump on the top of blokes' heads and come down and snap goals, and as soon as his heels hit the floor, he played on and just punched it through, so he wasn't going to waste any time. So South Fremantle definitely getting more rewards for their inside 50 entries.
Held to no goals as well last week, Ninyet, so good to get that dirty goal inside the square to break the streak.
Only had 12 touches too in that win over Swan Districts. South Fremantle, stray hand pass at the back. Dragovic has to go in. He gets spun 360 in the tackle, leading the charge now. McQuilkin feeds it off. Letcherton goes down the outer side of the ground. One-handed mark attempt. Good strong work from Jackson Bell Chambers, dispossessed. Back in the hands now of Lockyer. Big high kick now, another whistle. There's a lot going off the ball, and now another needless free kick from the Lions. So it's going to come all the way back. It's 40 metres behind where the ball was played to Nick Subin. So it's going to come back, and one of the better ball users in the team too. So Subiaco looking to go forward. The whistle now. South Fremantle get this entry back inside 50. Schlench slogged the target. Well sport from him. Numbers favouring the Lions at the back. Fullgrave sweeps it wide, and they run out of room there as stepping over the line and maybe seeking the sanctuary of that was Angus Dewar.
And Subiaco, their pressure this afternoon has been good, but it's been the needless free kicks, and they've struggled to move the ball as well as South Fremantle have been moving the ball against them.
So Shaw doing the ruck work, palms it down, hack off the ground from Hickmott, missed the mark, and a couple of players get rolled on top of the football. No prior opportunity, so chance for another stoppage. We're yet to see the slick ball movement, as you said, of the Lions.
Maybe we will a little bit now as two changes happen. Pearson will be coming back on.
Dumped in the tackle was Bletcherton. Almost kicking in danger there from Hickmott. The umpire didn't agree. Blind hand pass. They turn it over. Back into the hands of Bletcherton. He's starting to rack up the possessions. Kelly couldn't take the mark. Does well to re-tackle. Subiaco looking to stand tall here. Across centre half back. They bring it out. Broadcast side. Brilliantly weighted kick that one. And a nice easy mark for Chad Harris. Peels off the 45-degree kick. They move it back. Intended out now to Robbins. And he just spears one inside 50. Can't leave him alone. That's Michael Brout. He wants to play on. Interesting decision, but the right one in the end, because the ball just got there. And Ben Cycle will have a chance to go back. He's kicked 27. He's in the top 5 of the competition. Kicked 2 in their previous meeting back in round 5. And right on cue, as soon as my colleague and Luke Worthington mentioned it, the slick ball movement returns for the Lions. Sokol. Doubt he'll get an easier chance throughout the afternoon. Makes it pay. First major of the afternoon for the Lions, and they edge a little closer to South Fremantle. And courtesy of the Shutterguard scoreboard, South Fremantle 2 straight. Subiaco 117. You can enjoy that again if you're a Lions supporter, courtesy of CD Dodd replays.
Beautiful, beautiful kick there on the CD Dodd replay. And yeah, like you said, right on cue, that slick ball movement came back from Subiaco. We saw them slice through like they usually can, get creative with the patterns that they're running. And straight on the scoreboard. Subiaco now back within striking distance to try and get ahead in this first term as we tick over 15 minutes. South
Fremantle just pushed Mascos back into the back line, so he's come straight off the interchange bench, and they immediately make the change there as he goes to Brandon Matera. So that's going to be an interesting matchup this afternoon.
So ball gets tapped down, and looks like Blenchenden was held. Yeah, he was. So the handball is going to go back. It's bombed forward, and might have been a push off the play there, but it wasn't. Stainsby collected it.
They're good if you can get away with it. Stainsby.
Chipped it over the top. Now running on towards South Fremantle. Ball trickles over the line. Are we happy with that?
Just having a look off the ball, Luke. Schleuf is now pushed forward into a half-forward role. In fact, there's only him and Shaw inside the arc of 50, with Kelly and Schlenstog, who've made really good starts to this game, just currently waiting at the interchange gates.
So maybe when Schlenstog comes back on, we might see Schleuf move back into the middle if they're that way inclined. As South Fremantle now collecting it. Ball goes inside 50 over the top. Schleuf's the only option. Was nearly outdone by the two men, but he wasn't. Snap around the body, and it just trickled through for a behind. The kick from Mason Shaw looked really good. Schleuf did good work there, outnumbered in a 2-on-1 contest. Tapped the ball out to Shaw, gave him the opportunity, not quite on that occasion. Ball goes back in. Pearson, Harris is trying to collect it. Kick it in the back, surely, yep. And yeah, in the back is the call. So Subiaco, beneficiaries of a free kick this time. Ball gets kicked forward. Trickling in behind. Runners going towards the ball. Subiaco just need to move it forward. Collapsing down on it. They'll try and move it out of the pack, and the umpire looks like he's going to need to take this one in. So Subiaco doing a good job there, finally getting a little bit of territory. Schlenstog coming back on the field for South Fremantle. Ball goes to ground, collected, and it trickles out of the contest. And it's bombed back by South Fremantle. Schleuf the option. Subiaco players come in and smother it. They've got numbers around the footy. Kicked out of trouble by Stainsby and running onto it. Nearly a strong mark taken. Subiaco collecting it now. It's chipped forward. Just out of reach of Hickmott. He goes to ground. Schleuf collects it. Receives the handball straight back. Has a bit of tarmac now. Running through the middle. Kicking it forward. And really running and catching it like an NFL wide receiver, but couldn't quite bring it in. And now he's wrapped up hard by a heel.
That was an important stoppage for Subiaco there, because Slenshaw had stepped up off the interchange gate and was screaming towards goal. So the Lions defender was in his wake, so they needed to win that ball on the outer side. Here they come. Again, the Bulldogs, they load up. Big pack of players. Shaw the target. Slapped away from his clutches, and a chance for the Lions to clear. To a one-on-one contest. They bring it back inboard. Almost in the back there. In fact, they're going to call a throw. So Max Walters dejectedly hands it back to McQuilkin, who moves play out towards Shaw. Long way from home. Looks for Schloith. Honours his lead. Now, this man would probably have the journey he would suggest. They need to reset the mark. He's going to do the team thing. Pops it up towards Schlensog in an arm wrestle. Fisted down to the kickoff line. Dangerous tackle, says the umpire. Well, we are literally getting a range of free kicks today from both teams. Maybe you would expect that from the two best tackling teams in the competition. Matera sweeps it wide. And they move it towards the outer wing. And fisted out of play. So chance for another stoppage. Bit of an arm wrestle at the moment between both half forward lines. 2-1-13 to 1-1-7 currently.
It's been enjoyable so far, and both of these teams, they really make their money with the work that they do off the ball, and you can see those two philosophies going at each other today.
Here comes Subi. Out towards the outer side of the ground. Fantastic mark. So South Fremantle really standing tall across half back in the early stages. Subin off to the run now of McQuilkin. Spears it inside 50. Here comes Schloith busting out. Subiaco do well, brilliantly in fact. Back to Bailey Matera. Great vision from him. Redirects play. This is Brandon Matera. Time for a bounce. Kicks from the edge of the bullseyes up towards Sokol. He's got one opponent there in Mascos. How will he cope with this one? He feeds it back by hand. Subiaco flooding players back inside 50. Great vision over the top. That was brilliant. Can he mark? No.
He got it.
Has he got toe to ball? We'll wait and see.
Goal.
Nick Martin it was.
Beautiful.
Great play from Subiaco. The mark wasn't paid for Nick Martin, but he did well to just manage to get the leather of his boot to the footy.
Might have even been the studs of his boot there. He dropped it, went for the kick, and the whiffed kick attempt went back down, and the studs managed to hit the footy over the line. So perfect there. Exactly what they needed to tie this game. For both teams. Robbins had a good touch earlier. He's back out on the field. And we have a tie game. Sloith staying down forward for South Fremantle, as well as Schlensog. Clark in the middle, both rucks, Matthews and Free. Ready to go up for it. As Free wins it down nicely. Running straight onto it was Blenchenden. He kicked it over the top. Runners out wide, converging on the footy as it rolls out of bounds. So Subiaco getting themselves back in this one slightly. Kicking it around, trying to find an entry. Slowing things down and keeping it on their terms. High kick forward. Ball gets punched down. South Fremantle, they have it. The ball's inside 50. Just went over the top of Slensog. Running onto it. Nearly had a chance there. And the rebound out from Subiaco. A nice kick floated to the outside. Subiaco with numbers now. Stainsby pushed it forward. And a big tackle there. But the ball's going to go straight and bounce back out. Subiaco with it again. They're still moving it forward. They've done well here under pressure, and the mark is taken inside 50 by Max Walters. And he has the chance to put the Lions in front for the first time this afternoon at home. 1 goal, 1 last week against West Coast. 2 goals the week before. 17 disposals in each of them. And 6 marks in each of them as well. And here he goes. As it sprays all the way across, unfortunately. And it remains a tie game.
Well, considering the windsock is literally blowing almost a gale across, that ball should have been sucked back towards the goal. So to miss on the right-hand side of the goal must have really have not executed properly. Schlensog, now he's pushing back. Marks at left half back. Now he's got one option over his left shoulder. Umpire says play on. He'll bring it out towards the interchange gates. Plenty of air on it. Just ghosting in from the side. Couldn't take the mark there. It was Jimmy Miller. And we've got another arm wrestle here on the broadcast wing. Subi asking for holding the ball. They might get it. Not this time. Couple of choice words. Apologies for any language that you may have picked up from our field microphone.
The peanut gallery mic.
Bit of confusion with who's nominating for the ruck. There's a couple of big bodies for the Lions. Kelly, receded ground. Oh, that's a strong tackle from Clark. Might get rewarded and does. Having an outstanding season, he really is. And not willing to give the footy back is Salmeri. Has to eventually. Lucky not to give away 50. Looking further afield, not much on. So Clark's looking back in board. Uses his allotted time and decides to just recede a little bit of ground. That's worked out all right, okay for the Lions. Nick Martin. A bit of athleticism to kick the last goal. Off to Kitchen, the skipper. Wasting no time. Up towards Walters. Well sport from Schlensog. Brought down at ground level. They tie him up. And a chance for another ball up. Thanks for joining us, wherever you may be. Easily one down by Hamish Free. Hacked off the ground there by Harry Marsh. Thuds into the padding there of the left-hand behind post. That results in a boundary throw-in. You wouldn't suggest too long of a return in this opener. 2-1 apiece. Both teams can't be separated by record, only percentage at this stage. Chance for the Lions to leapfrog the Tigers. Another stoppage at centre half forward. All players forward of the centre bullseyes at the moment. A lot of congestion around this stoppage. Hacked off the ground by Free. Fell into Mascos's hands, who has to kick under pressure around the body. Schleith in on the scene. They play a little bit of tunnel ball and they run out of room on that outer side. So chance to reset from the boundary throw-in. Just waiting Cody Ninyat at the interchange gates, as is Bletcherden. Two men that have made a very positive start this afternoon. Matt Chechen's Luke Worthington. Bring you all the action. Floated back inside 50. That allowed the strong hands of Noah Strom to bring it to ground level. Centering kick now, and that's well judged. So an intercepting mark. There's some hard running now into the pocket, and the lead is on it. Chad Pearson, very, very reliable defender over the last couple of seasons. Brings it out over the head of Kelly and into the arms of Aaron Heel. 2 kicks from scoring, you would presume, and a little bit of a mix-up maybe with Matera. He thought he was going to lead a little shallower than that, and they turn it over, and there is the siren. 2 of the best teams in the comp cannot be separated as we have arrived at quarter time. Subiaco 2-1-13, South Fremantle 2-1-13 also, after a very promising start from the Bulldogs. Luke Worthington, Subiaco clean their ball use up a little and they get a bit of reward on the scoreboard.
Yeah, they struggled a bit early with South Fremantle's pressure, but they're right back in this one. Right as we said, the ball movement needed to be switched up a little bit. We saw the more creative, the more dynamic, the tougher Subiaco, who can slice through you, work it through the corridor and do exactly what they need to do to get the chance on goal. They've had a couple of more chances than what it shows on the scoreboard as well. The wind's been a bit of a problem with the goal kicking, but a solid game from the Lions so far at home, and South Fremantle also ready to step up to the task.
Well, they've been scrapping tooth and nail, and dare I say it, they're fighting like cats and dogs at the moment. Second term at the other side of this break, and we'll run through some of the key numbers. We'll be right back. Round 16 WAFL action.
Shatterguard has been installing Perth's best shutters for over 30 years. With no advertising signs on your front lawn and no sales gimmicks, visit shatterguard.com.au.
Welcome back to Leaderville Oval. The rain clouds holding off at this stage. We've arrived at quarter time in this final fixture for the OPTUS WAFL round 16 action for season 2021, and it's almost been like a game of musical chairs, particularly in the top three positions throughout the season. And these two teams, well, Subiaco looking to get back into the minor premiership spot. 2 goals won after a bit of a sluggish start, and South Fremantle made a very, very bright start at that. 2 goals won also. Matt Chechen's calling all the action on behalf of Front Row Screens. And looking at some of the numbers, my co-commentator in Luke Worthington, we'll start with the ball winners because Lee Kitchen is leading all ball winners on the ground. He has 11 touches in the first term. Phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. And Greg Clark too with 7. He looked to be a little bit quiet, but then had that big tackle, and things picked up for him significantly, and surprisingly, things picked up for him right as things picked up for Subiaco as well. On the other side, Tom Blanchenden has 10 disposals. Chad Pearson, he's been solid for the Bulldogs all afternoon. 9 disposals, 3 marks. 6 of those were kicks. Sloyd spinning and around the ball as well with 7 touches, and on the other side as well, Brandon Matera, 6 disposals, and same as Drew Road and Kyle Stainsby, who have been all over the contest.
So 11 inside 50s each as we have a look at some of our highlights, thanks to CD Dodd, and a man that you cannot afford any kind of room around the big sticks. And Ben Sokol kicked his first, and Subiaco's first as well, and that was clever work from Schloif, brought it down to shore. Unfortunately, his snap just missing the mark, but this is what he offers, this man, the Sandover medalist from 2017. He can win the ball at the coalface, but then push forward as well. Matera there, just linking up, and he's... Have a look at this from Nick Martin. There dropped the mark, and then just managing to get some sort of leather boot, rubber stud, stopper, whatever you call it, depending on what state you're from, and he managed to lock it up there at 2-1 apiece. And the slick ball movement return with Max Walters there.
Walters all alone. And
you have a look at Blake Schlenzog. He's been superb aerially. He's had 4 marks so far. And the tough tackling there, that was from Clark, I'm pretty sure. That sort of sparked him into action in this game. And
a lot of tackles on both sides as well. Subiaco just slightly have the advantage. 16 tackles to South Fremantle's 14, but Subiaco with quite a little bit less of the ball at the start of the contest, so that might be why we
Todd
see
Curley
South
on
Fremantle
screen.
the edge.
Interestingly enough, I was driving home the other day, and his big photo was up on a billboard out the front of the Empire Bar, and he actually had hair.
Wow.
So winding back the clock a few years, Todd Curley, what a fantastic player he was. He was hard as nails as well.
What do you think these guys are hearing in the huddle from Coach Bo Wardman, Matt?
I think they just need to clean up their ball use a little bit, and then even though the free kicks are locked at 5 apiece, Luke, they Subiaco were giving them away in sort of poor areas or poor cheaper, situations. Yeah, because they gave one off the ball. Nick Subin was dumped well behind the play as we have a look at Hayden Schleuf making his way back onto the ground. I'm just going to keep an eye. It looks as though he's heading out towards the bullseyes in the middle of the ground. So such a luxury to be able to throw him back into
and he did start
the midfield.
He did start the first quarter there and was moved forward about halfway through. So we'll keep an eye on what he's doing, as it is pretty crucial to South Fremantle's success.
I think also Subiaco need to try and arrest the form of Bletcherton at the moment, because he's just winning his own footy at the moment. Like the work of Lewis Putt in the ruck, coming up against Free. As we said, a couple of inexperienced rucks at the moment.
Had 10 possessions, Blenchenden, none of them were marked, so he's collecting a lot of the footy in dirty areas. That might suggest.
So both teams 9-3 on the season. We've travelled 1 out of 4 quarters, and we still can't split them. 2-1 apiece. As the action gets underway, Subiaco kicking to the left of your screen. No real advantage as Free won it down. And we'll have another stoppage as Subin can't regain his feet and move the ball on. So we'll have another stoppage. So South Fremantle to the Vincent Street end of the ground. Matera. Good vision from him. Fed it out wide, but they turn it over. Still willing to fight and scrag for the ball. Good tackle there from Putt. Not rewarded. Bit of congestion around this one as Free won it down. Looking for Schleuf, but he has to put the saddle on his opponent, and we'll have another reset. Clark will feed it back to the umpire. Finally, we get a bit of movement out of the congestion. Kitchen slung off it and held. It'll be touch number 12 for the Lions captain. Imagine he's going to feature prominently at the pointy end of the season. Saw something in the pocket, but just overshot it. Down at ground level, little hand pass out the side. Could be the opener of this term, and it is. So Subiaco with a bit of good fortune in their forward 50. The spear pass from Kitchen. And through a series of hands, and it results, I think, in Nick Martin kicking his second.
Martin. And a beautiful goal from him there. Look at the way he just bolts through the contest. Whipped it towards goal. And no problem at all for the 20-year-old. Kicked 1 goal 1 last week, and that's his 15th of the season for the big forward.
Got some very tall options in that forward line, and
huge
to have ones that tall that can attack the contest at speed like he did there. He's showing his agility, in particular with the first goal, getting a toe to it, and now with his second, so we're back in the middle.
So Free and Matthews going at it again. Ball goes to ground. Subiaco looked like they were about to get it out of there, and yes, they will, as it bounces towards Hickmott, who hangs it inside 50. Good mark brought down by Mascos, who moves it forward. South Fremantle, bit of work through the corridor now as they take the mark in, and unfortunately there for them, a turnover to Chad Harris. He's been very solid this afternoon, one of the leading ball getters as it moves inside 50, and the mark is taken in by Harrison Marsh. Was a little bit unlucky earlier. Sorry, no, he wasn't. He kicked a goal earlier. Harrison Marsh managed to collect that one in deep. And here he is, 2 goals last weekend from almost directly in front, about 40 out. It'll sail through for a behind. The windsock going directly left to right for him, and looks like the ball got caught in the wind there and sailed through. 4 behind. So that's his second behind of the afternoon. I did get mistaken earlier as the ball almost travels out of bounds, but it's held in nicely, and this time it will go out of bounds. Subiaco under a little bit of pressure there.
Is it just me, or bodies start flying when Manfred Kelly's on the scene? His attack on the foot is admirable, to say the least. Tough competitor.
Back underway. Clark collects it. Kick nearly went in, but he didn't get all of it. And it's going to go straight to Mascos. Has a lead inside and chipped it through to Motlop. Motlop needs to see what's going on a bit further downfield now. And he'll bomb it towards our broadcast wing. The ball went off Slensog's hand and down, and he'll collect it one more time. Is it going to bounce just before it goes out at will? So couldn't quite bend it around like he needed to there, Slensog. Will be a boundary throw in. Just at right half forward for South Fremantle, who have moved it forward slowly but surely up the wing during this sequence. Haven't kicked a goal in a little while. Subiaco did kick the last 2. Kitchen's handball went out for Hickmott. Ball travels through the middle, and it's taken in by Marsh. Marsh kicking it across. Mark's taken down nicely by Sokol, and Sokol kicks it in. Subiaco starting from the top of 50 here. And is he going to do the team thing or go for it?
Well, this is going to be the toughest kick you would imagine today. It's hard to kick goals on that side of the ground at Leederville at the best of times, let alone with a win that's going to push it, so probably the right option.
Bomb forward towards the pocket, and the mark was nearly taken in, but he's going to get rolled over and taken out of bounds.
That's good umpiring then, because the field umpire was right on the scene, perfectly positioned where you actually see them out near the boundary line. So Sokol trying to dupe him into taking the mark, but he was having none of it.
Rucks go up for it. Ball to ground. Trickled forward by South Fremantle. Getting wrapped up was Kelly.
Yeah, Stainsby not letting him go anywhere on that occasion. That was a good tackle.
You wouldn't want to. They continue this young ruck contest. Looks to be pretty even so far. It's 12 hitouts for putt and 11 for free as we continue the snap on the outside of the boot towards goal. Sorry, the check side kick on the outside towards goal. Subiaco trying to take it in now. They're struggling under the South Fremantle pressure. South Fremantle rebounded outside of there. And a strong mark is taken in. Subiaco are going to continue now. Matera has it. And it's going to be a 50-metre for Matera, who's going to take a walk towards goal. The offender on that occasion was Motlop. And Brendan Matera with the chance to extend Subiaco's lead with a bit of an easier kick than he originally intended. Directly in front, the 29-year-old, and the left foot kick goes straight through the middle. And that's his 7th of the season. So 4 goals to 26. Subiaco, they lead South Fremantle 2-1-13, Matt Chechens.
Yeah, Bailey Matera, some good fortune for him thanks to the CD Dodd replay. Just a mere tap in almost for him. Hasn't been that accurate coming in, Bailey Matera. 2 goals, 8 on the season, and he puts pay to that. So bit of a gimme, and we have a look now. That's the biggest lead for either team of the afternoon, 4-2, 26-2-1, thanks to Shutterguard. Matt Chechens and Luke Worthington here from a very windy and cold Leederville Oval. Luckily we're in the sanctuary of the commentary box. Our good colleague Paul Persick to our right, donning a jacket much that what you'd see from Maverick in the Top Gun movie.
Been a goal umpire for us as well on occasion, which has been handy.
Bit of lanolin, bit of sheep's wool around the collar there. It's looking very sharp. All right, back to the action. No danger of that man freezing today as they kick it up. Bletcherton up inside, forward 50. The ball just trickles in, and South Fremantle, such good front half pressure. They show that again. Subiaco with the league's best defence. Only giving up 16 scoring shots per contest. They've only given up 3 today. Bletcherton almost bought his own football there, but the boundary umpire right on the scene as we've got a ball up, rather a ball in. Great crowd for Sunday afternoon footy. Just having a look around the ground. People rugged up and enjoying the bright sunshine on the outer side of the ground too. Wonderful to see. It's been an exciting season as we see another free kick, and this time it's going the way of the Bulldogs. Kick towards Shaw, over his head. Crumbs gathered by Ninyet. He's running out of room. Does well, shows toe, sets it up. Centering ball for Schlensog, set himself. Couldn't take the mark. Hand pass received by Schleut. Sells some candy. Stabs it back to Schlensog. Wasn't 15. His kick well smothered off the boot. Probably a goal saving one at that too. Jordan Lockyer take a bow because he probably saved an almost certain goal, and then they give away a free kick.
High contact.
So they'll go into the middle and just exchange pleasantries at the moment, and it looks as though Motlop will be the recipient. They did so well to stand up there, and just how good was for Ninyet first of all, working in tight confines, and then ball spilled down to Schleuth. He stabbed it to Schlensog. He had to play on, and then out of nowhere Lockyer saves the goal scoring opportunity, only for Subi to literally shoot themselves in the foot. Motlop for his 3rd of the season. He obliges. Lead almost halved with that bit of ill discipline. 4-2-26, 3-1-19, courtesy of Shutterguard scoreboard. Let's have a look at CD Dog replay, and not sure what shade of blue that is. Let's go with the aqua. Those wheels, very impressive.
Love that.
I honestly think, Luke, I mean, this afternoon, it's going to sound like a bit of a cliche, but who can finish better in front of goal in very windy conditions? But who can keep their composure and not give away opportunities that either lead to forward 50 entries or easy set shots like we just saw? Because the last 2 goals have resulted, one from a needless 50 and that one for a bit of reckless high tackle.
Umpires with a tight but fair grip on it.
Perfect bounce also. They're doing it all today, the umpires. Getting a run in the ruck now is Jimmy Miller. Here comes Subi, busting through the middle, 2 bounces. Centering pass to Matera of Brandon variety. He marks. He's got options in the pocket, so he floats it up towards Walters. Brilliantly spoilt. Getting across, covering, scrambling was Trent Newton. Right as the drop of the footy was about to land in the trusty arms of the Subiaco veteran in Walters. Instead, we are forced into another stoppage. 12 minutes have elapsed exactly. Perfect boundary throw in over the top, taken by Putt. Putt gives it to Marsh. Flying snap around the body was always hanging out to the right, and they extend their lead now, the Lions, to 8 points, 4 goals, 3 to 3-1. Shutterguard scoreboard. Thanks for joining us on Front Row Screens.
South Fremantle just sitting 8 points behind now. Were further back earlier. The goal by Motlop's put them back in it. Nice mark taken in. Kicked forward through the corridor. If they get it, they could have a chance. Here they are. The ball nearly went out to Schleuth. He got rid of it. And was it called?
It was. Incorrect disposal. Did not give on the chase then. That was superb.
So, beautiful tackle there by Heel. He's bombing it out wide. Taken in nicely and chipped forward by Harris. And they'll slow things down on the far wing. Kick up the wing, taken in nicely one more time, moving it with a bit of purpose now, Subiaco. Not much going on. bombs it forward into a one-on-one contest, and the mark did end up being taken in. And Strom seemed to disagree, but the mark was taken in the end, as it's kicked forward and didn't find the option that he needed.
I'll tell you what, again, emotions are starting to get the better of a couple of players, because we just saw Strom push his opponent to the ground, and now another 50's given away for the late hit. So
Wilson, the beneficiary of that 50-metre penalty, took in the mark, late hit afterwards. And
that's not the shortest 50 metres penalty as well I've ever seen. It looked about 30 metres.
Wouldn't want to buy real estate from him, like you'd say. As it moves out to the broadcast wing, McQuilkin kicks it inside. Sloyth nearly took it in. Heel on the ground, wrapped up by Sloyth. Stainsby's in there as well. Umpire will have it. South Fremantle did, however, move it forward quite quickly after that 50-metre penalty. And they'll be looking to get one on the board before we head into the second half of this term. Getting a boot onto it, out of the tackle was Ninyet. Collecting it now is Miller. Kicks it towards the face of goal. It gets rebounded out where it drops nicely for Donaldson. He couldn't quite move it. And now with a good bounce is Subin. Ball sails across the face of goal.
Oh, we just saw the boundary umpire take a spill. I hope he's okay. That was a bit of a chaos ball, that one that was centred, because it was like a corkscrew. It's kind of a half-drop punt barrel that kind of just bounced awkwardly. And Nick Subin, savvy veteran, just getting up in that lane then and intercepting. Unfortunately, couldn't apply the finish. So Subi bring it back in. Lovely spearing ball to Stainsby. Actually, that's Clark. My apologies. Off to Walters. Gets it back now to Kitchen. So they're moving it by hand. No one at home inside forward 50. Literally no maroon and gold jumpers. So that allows a chance for the Bulldogs to just mop up. Good mark on the stretch. Falling to the turf is Regan Spooner. Now Spooner's got a plethora of options on the outer side of the ground, and that's where he heads. Because he put too much under that. Kitchen was closing quickly, but having to sit under it and take the very strong contested mark was Blaine Wilson, and here we go again with the needless pushing and shoving. So well done, Wilson, standing under it when you can hear footsteps. Schlensog sets himself, not going to be outmarked there. He is the best in the comp. Centering pass to Miller, marks and then played on. So it's going to be turned over into the hands of the Lions now with Hickmott. Hickmott drives it to the outer side of the ground. This is Broad. Can he keep the ball alive? He can. Bit of showboating as he just puts it end over end towards right half forward. Possibly in the back. The umpire didn't think so, but that one was high. And South Fremantle give away free kick, and that was Noah Strom on this occasion. And a chance for Matera to head on back. Brandon Matera's kicked 6 goals, 4. Kicked 3 last week. Not sure if he's got the journey here, because have a look at his body language. He is scanning the horizon. But now he shows a bit of intent as he slaps it onto the left boot. It's going close. And just across the face of goal. Claiming the mark on the goal line there, Nick Martin. Not this time. So Matera was looking for options and no one was moving forward for him, so he had to take it upon himself. Driving ball outside 50 is going to result in a free kick. Subi on this occasion lucky not to give away the free kick, so it seems as though Strong's always in and around the action here as he assesses his options at left half back. Always a little get out of jail free card there, laterally. Ball in the hands now of McQuilkin. Oh, spearing pass as the Bulldogs just enjoying a little bit of possession now. Kick mark. Stepped over the mark, so has to kick off a step. That affects its accuracy, almost a throw. Umpire lets it happen. Here they come again. Stainsby lowers the eyes. Perfect delivery to Sokol. He looks for the centering pass. Heard the voice of Matera. So now he opens up the angle from his last set shot at goal, and he's still looking to give it off, and he does so. So they're just waxing the footy between them. Kick to kick. Back to Sokol, and a chance for his second. So Subiaco, once they get in around that 50-metre arc, they're not looking to blaze away or even set it up. They're looking for these little chips, and they're willing just to knock it round. So Matera knew exactly what he was doing. Sokol kicked one in the first.
Yep.
Two goals back in round 5. So the breeze might help him because it'll just be blowing into his face slightly, and he's hooked it across his body and missing.
So moving to 28 goals, 16 on the season. Within striking distance of his 30th today for the season. Might be a bit difficult with the wind. It's starting to blow diagonally across the field as it gets chipped forward into the grasp of Dragovic. Found a good option running through in Donaldson. Donaldson kicks it, Slensog's there. It just got tipped off a hand before it went to him. Subiaco collecting it now, moving it around nicely. And it looks like they will get it out of there. A good job by the mids there as Clark collects it inside. Inboard kick finds Matera right in the middle. They're moving it through the corridor nicely now, Subiaco. They have numbers towards goal as it gets kicked over the top and brought in beautifully by, guess who, Ben Sokol. And after the miss just before, the breeze might favour him nicely as well. It's sailing diagonally from his left to right across the face of goal. So it might help him bend it in a little bit. He can start the line far and it might help its way in. And it gets held up by the breeze a little bit there and went through for a behind on the left-hand side. So he just intended to use the wind a little bit too much there. As Sloyth nearly collected it in. Harris on the deck nearly had it. Rode moved it out of trouble. Harris going to ground near the boundary line. Has Shaw on top of him.
Just while we have the stoppage, I believe we're having a few audio issues with our broadcast. We apologise for that at the moment. The screeching through the sound at the moment is not our voice out at the moment. Is not our voices breaking, Luke. I can assure our audience of that. But thanks for persisting with us.
Might have been a few years ago that happened for both of us. Ball goes back in to ground as it's snapped around the body by Fulgrave. They go up for it and it goes straight back to ground. Handballing it out of there. And it's kicked over the top and taken in beautifully by Matera once more. That combination up front for Subiaco of Matera and Sokol has been unbelievable today. And Matera with another chance on goal to kick his second of the afternoon. Rarely goes a game without a goal. He's 6-4 or 7-4 on the season as this high ball comes in and looks like it was just about to get across the line but didn't quite. Oh, two bodies collide there. And the ball trickles over the boundary. Few extra curriculars after the collision.
Well, look, that breeze is now blowing to the right of screen quite strongly. So that's why that kick managed to fall short. So boundary throw in as they work their way to the back. Well done, Free. Won it down with his left hand. Subin couldn't gather the football. Subiaco tied up. 23 minutes have elapsed, second term. 10 points is that margin on the Shutterguard scoreboard. Tumbling ball out of defence, brought back down to ground level. couple of hand passes battered down. Marsh somehow manufactures a barrel, but it's going to be chopped off. Chad Pearson looking for options, has to drive it to the outer side of the ground, and good mark. Shielding his eyes from the sun was Brandon Donaldson. Not an easy one to take. This is where Subiaco have done really well this afternoon in bottling up all the leading lanes further down the ground. So this kick has to be down the line and can be easily fisted out of play as Kyle Stainsby does that. And earns a free kick in the process. Even better. It's going to be a very high free kick count if both of these teams continue with this. Nice little chip, little dink pass over the top. Subi just content with just peeling off 45-degree kicks as it comes back to Stainsby. Now they can swing it round. Full grave. Clinch. They've done this perfectly. Drew Road. Lex not for the short option, but the one further afield, and it was the right decision. Nick Martin pointing where he wants his big forwards to go, and he sets it up, and good mark. So South Fremantle doing a good job themselves. This time Matthew Ward, and let's have a look at now. You get a great view there. Magnificent camera work here at front row screens, just showing how good Subiaco are setting up their defensive grid right now, because they're forcing these contest kicks there, and they're content just to slap it out and reset. So South Fremantle almost try and set up similarly, but Subiaco at the moment, not just with the scoreboard pressure, but they're looking more comfortable in peeling off 45-degree kicks. Shallow ball in. Lechidan. The two sevens collide, but it ends up being extracted out the side of the pack. Hand pass comes back to Fullgrave, and he's got two Bulldogs on his hammer immediately. Blake Schlog, who is a very big individual. So Free uses his strength to Subin. Not 15 metres, so Free decides to spoil his teammate, Schlensog, who was trying to take the mark, but it wouldn't have been paid. Right in front of the Subiaco Lions dugout, down to our left. We see Putt waiting to get back on, as is Brandon Matera. So the ball comes in again. One down by Free. Breaking through is Walters. Went without the football. Subin stoops down.
Big
fed
tackle.
it off to Jared Salmeri, who was taken high. And as you can see by his stature, not that hard to do. Low centre of gravity, to say the least. He's a tough competitor. That's a brilliant kick. Schlensog was going to mark that 11 times out of 10 to Shaw. Shaw puts one up into the slipstream, and Subiaco get numbers back, and almost like a goalkeeper palming it over the bar is Jordan Lockyer, forcing another stoppage at right half forward.
Been watching a bit of the Matildas at the Olympics. They were good last night. Ball goes back in. Palm down, South Fremantle. Snapping it forward. Ball getting ping-ponged around in the air. Collecting it down. They move it out close to the boundary. Sloth brought it in, and it's going to be a free kick going to Subiaco.
Just been told by our wonderful head honchos in our production truck that if you're experiencing audio issues, ladies and gents, just head on over to YouTube or get onto front row screens, and the audio issues will be nice and clear, or rather the issues will be cleared for you. So just having some issues at the moment through the Facebook page, but you can get onto YouTube and have a look through there.
Beautiful mark brought in by Clark. Subiaco slowing things down now. Stainsby moving it out to the far side, and they look like they might have a chance here. Ball goes over the top. Running onto it now is Hickmott. Hickmott has acres and acres of space, but the siren goes just before he gets the kick inside. Nonetheless, Subiaco leading at the end of the first half. 4 goals, 6:30. They lead South Fremantle 3-2-20.
Definitely a quarter dominated on the scoreboard by Subiaco because the game was knotted at 2-1 apiece, and they managed to kick 2 goals 5 in that term, and South Fremantle just adding the 1 goal 2. But let's credit the South Fremantle defenders because they were faced a barrage of high forward 50 entries, some heavy artillery from Subiaco in that half, but they were led pretty well by Strom and Pearson and the like, and they will have the aid, you would suggest, of the breeze, and if it can die down. But it is definitely an arm wrestle for the top 3 teams in the competition, as you can see at half time. 4-6-30 to 3 goals 2-20. The thoughts very briefly of Luke Worthington.
I really like the way that Subiaco were able to move it around in that second half, put a lot more pressure on South Fremantle than they did in the first half. Well, the pressure definitely dialed up. The pressure's always been there, but then it was the ball movement that went hand in hand in the pressure that allowed the sheer volume of scoring shots that they had. The wind becoming a bit of a problem for both sides now, and will continue to throughout the game.
All right, both teams heading off to the sheds. You can see the Bulldogs making their way to the away dressing rooms. We'll have a very short break. When we return, we'll go through the key numbers of the first half of this round 16 clash here at Leederville Oval, and we'll also take in some highlights of what's been a very entertaining game. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Shatterguard has been installing Perth's best shutters for over 30 years. With no advertising signs on your front lawn and no sales gimmicks, visit shatterguard.com.au.
Live pictures from Leederville Oval here, just north of the wonderful city of Perth in Western Australia, and some of the local fans getting out and having a chance to run around Leederville Oval at this time of year is usually halfway underwater, as some of the kids enjoying their time out there at the moment. Subiaco only with a narrow lead at half-time, 4-6-30 to 3-2-20. It was tied up at 13 points apiece, and as you can see by the look of those trees there, that's on Vincent Street here to the right of screen, and a very, very strong breeze at the moment, and that has impacted a lot of the ball movement and in particular set shots for goal this afternoon. And as we take in some highlights of this first half, thanks to CD Dodd, wonderful supporters of Front Row Screens and also of our coverage, let's have a look, Luke Worthington, of some of the numbers. Kitchen quiet in that term, added 5 touches, but still with 16, but it's Chad Pearson leading the way, I believe.
Yeah, Chad Pearson has been phenomenal in this half. I can't see him. Oh, yep, leading the way. Yeah, he is leading the way with 17. My apologies. And then behind him, it's Blenchenden with only 12. So he is 5 disposals ahead. So they've
done a great job, Subiaco, not only putting scoreboard pressure on, but putting the handcuffs on Blenchenden, because he had 9 disposals at quarter time. Yep. So he's only had 3 touches of the footy in that quarter, as we have a look at Sokol getting his first today. But the big number for me is the inside 50 count. It was 11 apiece at quarter time, but Subiaco have gone gangbusters in that. They win that term 14-5, so 25-16 forward 50 entries, 10 scoring shots to 5. So they just need to straighten up in front of the of the goalposts, and you think they might be able to open up this lead in the third term.
And another telling part of the story on the stat sheet is the disposals, 179 to 133, and Subiaco, still despite that gap in disposals, have one more tackle. And another one that we've been pointing out throughout the broadcast is that Subiaco have been giving away some free kicks that they might like back. However, they have had 11 free kicks to South Fremantle's 10. So that count is in their favour, despite maybe 4 or 5 errors in that
They were
department.
lucky recipients of a 50-metre penalty that Bailey Matera popped through in the middle of the ground. And South Fremantle, led by Pearson, right on cue there as he made a clearing kick. But Subiaco, you suggest, just starting to win that arm wrestle in the middle of the ground. We know that their first choice ruckmen are out, so it's going to be who sharks the ball better and who lays more tackles, obviously, as well. So that count is plus 10 at the moment for, and in fact, no, it's not. It's 28 to 29. So the Bulldogs have had less of the ball, but only one more tackle. So the Bulldogs will want to increase that number as the third term comes. But then if you look at them going forward in that term, I know that they managed to kick the one goal, but Mason Shaw has taken the majority of his marks outside the 50-metre arc. They need to be back inside 50, whereas Ben Sokol, they're very similar in the type of their movement off the ball. He's had a lot more marks inside 50, which is where you want your spearheads kicking those. And there's big Mason Shaw on screen currently. Just to wrap up quickly, what's happened through round 16 of the OPTUS WAFL season for 2021. And yesterday, Claremont defeated East Fremantle by 43 points. That was at Revo Fitness Stadium. They are so good on their home deck, the Claremont Tigers, and they go back into top spot briefly. If Subiaco can win this afternoon, they will leapfrog them. But West Perth, they're really hitting form at the right time of the year. They defeated Peel Thunder by 24 points in that. Tyler Keitel kicking 7 goals and maybe has got one arm on the Bernie Naylor medal already. This man on screen in Brandon Matera has been lively. East Perth went down here at Leederville Oval against West Coast by 2 points. They trailed by 6 or 7 goals in the fourth term, and they came home.
Just hang on,
and
West Coast.
There wasn't much of a breeze either. They just executed much better. And then Swan Districts, it's a fantastic story because they've struggled in the last few years across all 3 grades, and they are really competing. And at the pointy end of the season, it looks as though they're going to sneak into the 5. So plenty happening here at Leederville Oval at the moment. If you have a look at the Bouncy Castle, Mr. Whippy's out there. I think Paul Persick's put in 3 or 4 orders for a couple of choc tops. Maybe he brings me back. He still owes me a coffee, believe it or not.
There we go.
There's Paul Persick.
Maybe
But anyway.
Yeah, that's him on the far side of the screen there, I reckon.
So apparently he won $2 off Matt Williamson, our producer, and he still hasn't invested that in a cup of coffee. But we might send him down very shortly. In the meantime, with the help of Optus, let's take a look at AFL Premiership player Will Schofield's return to the WAFL. It all starts with yes.
I started my career here in Western Australia. I played most of my first year at Peel. It was kind of a good transition between junior footy for me and then AFL. It was that middle ground where I sort of grew up a little bit, and it was why I was keen on coming back here. I really felt like that did have a lot to do with me developing not only as a footballer but as a man.
So Hawthorn have done it.
Probably took a long time to get over 2015. When you make a grand final, you think it's the best thing ever, and then when you lose it, you realise it actually could be the worst day of your life. 2015 was just a horrible day. It took almost 3 years to get back there. 2018 was life-defining for me. My best mate was killed in a bike accident. After round 1, went to the funeral in Victoria. Pretty much considered not coming back to AFL. I had my first child in June of that year, so that was a real wake-up call for me, and it was great. Fatherhood, changed me a lot. It was a huge roller coaster ride for me that year. Really feeling like my whole AFL life, it was all just gone, and I missed the opportunity. I was not going to get the opportunity to validate my work by playing in a premiership. I wanted that opportunity to, in my mind, validate my worth as a player, but as a person.
The Eagle has landed. They're the premiers in 2018.
Having won certainly helped that, but I've definitely come to realise your value isn't what you are as a player, it's what you are as a person.
Yeah, well, really, when Scully decided to finish up playing at AFL level, I think he was lured naturally back to Peel because this is where he played his football before he played AFL, and he felt the sense of the community down here, and he's got a young family. So, from what I can understand, it was quite an easy decision for Will to come back to the club, and yeah, we're definitely thankful that we've got him.
Like sort of any player that comes out of the AFL, you're exposed to an elite level of everything really that comes with AFL. Training, diet, mentality, you name it, we've seen it at AFL level. So I guess some guys go into coaching, and not really for me. I don't really see myself as a coach, but I do like teaching and I like leading young men.
I know he's really optimistic about the young talent that's coming through here at the club. So it's been great for him to run our emerging leaders program with our Colts and our senior emerging leaders. There's no doubt that he'll help those guys develop.
Do it fortnightly. We work through everything I've learned as an AFL footballer. So it's a little bit of a masterclass for them on leadership, but really it's about being a better man and leading better as a person, understanding yourself and giving you a platform to succeed. If the guys go out and get drafted, I'd be proud, but it would be awesome to see. But if they come out and they've learned something and they're able to be a better person outside the footy club, well, I've probably played my role.
Will Schofield, Premiership player, 2018 for West Coast. I was actually fortunate enough to be at the MCG on that day, and as a neutral supporter, what a game it was. But his impact on that game was phenomenal. As we have a look at some of those kids out there just dropping the footy into the buckets. If only my son was so capable of picking up after himself like some of those kids. I might have a bit more hair on top of the head at the moment, but enjoying their time out there, and that is the best dressed man too, to be catching footies in effectively a garbage bin there with a suit and tie. And speaking about overdressing, have a look at these two. Couple of pirouettes already out in the field. Fantastic to see all the kids down and supporting as Dad just puts one through the middle there. And have a look at this. Little check side from the middle. He's been watching the AFL. One sock pulled up. It's lovely to see these kids out and about having such a wonderful time, and they must have all completed their homework pretty quickly to be out there having a bit of a kick out at Leederville Oval. Well, time for another break. When we come back, it will be the third term. Both teams will begin their warm-ups very shortly. 4 goals, 6:30. Subiaco leading South Fremantle 3-2-20. 10-point margin there on the Shutterguard scoreboard. Just very quickly in the AFL, Richmond Tigers are in a world of trouble at the moment, trailing Geelong by 46 points, and the Dockers, unfortunately for WA footy fans, or those that wear purple, went down by 40 points to Sydney, and obviously Essendon and GWS round out the round in the AFL. When we come back, it will be the third term. Some call it the Premiership quarter. It might need to be for South Fremantle if they want to keep the pressure on the top two. Find out on the other side of our final break.
Shutterguard has been installing Perth's best shutters for over 30 years. With no advertising signs on your front lawn and no sales gimmicks, visit shutterguard.com.au.
Leederville Oval, the scene. The visiting team this afternoon, South Fremantle, with a little bit of work to do. Hayden Schloeth in the foreground there, and Bletchenden, who started the game in red-hot fashion. Bletchenden, he ended up with 9 disposals in the first term, but he's been well held to just 12 through the first half. At the moment, as we see Subiaco going through their paces at the moment, Matt Chechens and Luke Worthington bringing all the action from Leederville Oval. Subiaco 4-6-30 leading South Fremantle 3-2-20. In what's been an entertaining round of footy. Swan Districts back at this stage looking pretty good to be making the finals this season. There's Hayden Schloith. Who's your tip for the flag at this stage of the season? Now somebody that we know that works for Front Row Screens foolishly tipped the Perth Demons. Now, I'm a pretty passionate, one-eyed fan of the Demons and, you know, living in Laughlane. However, not even I tipped them to do anything this year. Paul Persick tipped them for the flag. So if we tip the ladder on its head,
yeah,
possibly. But who do you like?
That'd be close. Oh, mate, I mean, if I'm going with Paul's kind of line of thinking, I'd be saying the West Coast Eagles at this point. So, look, I really like the look of Subiaco at the moment. You can never, ever, ever count them out. And finals time is when these guys really come and shine through. And on a windy day in tough conditions, you can see them really having a good crack at a team that is that's nipping at their heels on the ladder.
I like Claremont. I mean, I had them pre-season. I just think that they've got so much polished ball winners and ball users as well. But as we said, Swan Districts, they're now 8-5, so that's 32 points on the season. Peel Thunder, 4 wins out, and only a fraction of percentage as well. You would imagine. I don't want to write off East Fremantle because mathematically it could still happen for them. However, their percentage of 91.91 is going to be a bit tough. And East Perth, after coming home with a wet sail yesterday against the West Coast Eagles reserves, if they had won that, they still could have been a sniff. But I think that closes the door on them. But it's great to see that they've sort of made a resurgence in the last couple of rounds. And even though we just mocked the West Coast Eagles reserves, they were very good yesterday. And the fact that they've won 3 games this season as well is a credit to them. But Swan Districts, they're sitting in 5th at the moment. If we have a look at the reserves ladder, they currently sit in 2nd. So Claremont, you would almost say favourites for the Rodriguez Shield at this stage because they're sitting atop in the league reserves and they're sitting 3rd in the Colts. But if you have a look at Swan Districts, they're so strong. They haven't won it, the Rodriguez Shield, since 1980. Now, that's a long time. I can tell you that because that was the year I was born. Okay. Now, they're sitting 10-1 at the moment for the Colts. So they're right in the mix at the moment. East Perth having a great season. The Colts, they're sitting in 2nd at the moment. And then South Fremantle as well. But if you have a look, Swan Districts, the fact that their league team is 5th, the reserves currently sitting 2nd, and the Colts are 1st. And, I mean, as much as I really rate Peel Thunder's Waffle women's outfit, and congratulations for them for winning back-to-back flags, first team to do it. Swan Districts had a stranglehold of that competition. They were 14-1 and unfortunately just fell in the last couple of hurdles in the final. So congratulations to all at Swan Districts because they've really turned their fortunes around. Blake Schenshog is heading down to full forward. So that is some tall timber. He goes to the square. Shaw starting in front of him. You've got Ninyet as well and Manfred Kelly. That is a dynamic forward line to the left of your screen.
Sloth not starting on the field for this term, I think. No, he was in behind Greg Clark, who was about a head taller than him. So there we go. Sloth will be starting on the field.
Definitely. All right, so we're underway. Subiaco, maybe with the aid of half a goal's breeze, but is blowing very strongly across the ground. As you can see, that bounce from the umpire just floating out of the 2 bullseyes in the middle. So we reset. The umpires have had plenty to do. 21 free kicks in the first half. Thanks for joining us. If you are having any issues with sound quality at the moment, you can get onto YouTube, get on. And if you aren't, because our wonderful producers fixed it, then happy days. We're underway. Might hear the mental cogs turning in the commentary box. As the ball 55 metres out, they load up. Walters the target, but it falls short of him, and I think that's Matera that's just ghosted in front. And if you have a look at Clark was behind, he looked to be in the box seat, but that ball was 3-ironed. And Brandon Matera, let's have a look at this. Have a look. It barely goes above the advertising hoardings there in the distance, and that was a good pair of hands. Usually things that travel that quick, they either have a baseball glove catching them.
Yeah.
So Matera, a chance for his first goal of the afternoon. Misses. He's had a couple of opportunities. Bailey made no mistake after a 50-metre penalty. So the Bulldogs just dodge or have an early warning shot fired across their bow as they play on. Schlensog will be the target. He just goes up with one mitt. Couldn't bring it down this time. Clark gathers the crumbs. Off to Bailey Matera. That was clever. Centering the ball. Hand pass under heavy duress is Fulgrave. Kick smothered. Ends up back into his hands to Clark. Clark brilliantly smothered by Kelly. Risking tooth and nail with that one. That kicker will come back. In fact, it was touched off the boot. Angus Dewar loads up towards Sokol. Down at ground level. Walters missed his hack off the ground. A goal scoring opportunity. Matera lays some forward line pressure and goes again. Bulldogs player just spun out in the tackle. Like he's thrown into the washing machine. It was Jackson Bellchambers, and South Fremantle will be content with a stoppage, you would suggest. 2.5 travel. Just the one behind added to Subiaco's lead, which currently stands 11 points. Shutterguard scoreboard.
Ball gets rebounded out of bounds. And they again will be content with the field position as we're ready to get back underway. Ruck contest's been good this afternoon between the two youngsters as Sloyth collects it in the direction of Schlensog. Couldn't quite bring it down. Kelly's there. Gets a tough handball out to Dragovic, who's going to get wrapped up in a tackle. He's struggled to get rid of it, but he does. Goes straight back to Dragovic again. And had his arm pinned. The umpire will have it.
I'll tell you what, Dragovic was given the 900 treatment because it was 2 360s and a 180. That took me a long time to add up that.
Yeah, quick maths, relative. As it gets handballed across to Putt and trickles over the boundary line one more time. Subiaco will be happy to stay here in this territory. 4-7-31. They lead 3-2-20. South Fremantle. Well, Subiaco leads South Fremantle on the Shutterguard scoreboard. Ball goes to ground. Putt's running onto it. Collected it, handballed it to Kitchen. Over the top nicely for Clark, and a well-weighted kick is going to find Matera. Solid combination there, those three names. Putt's been solid in the ruck, leading the hit-out count. Well, he was earlier. He's just dropped behind Hamish Free in recent times, but the Subiaco mids have been doing a solid job. Here's Matera, left foot kick inside, and the mark taken in by Walters. Getting a good jump there was Max Walters, and he is going for his first of the afternoon. It's his second mark today. Both of them have been very solid. As he lines up, we have perfect view of it from our broadcast position, and oh, the wind just got it there. It started with a very nice line towards the goal, and Walters moves to 1-1 on the afternoon.
I'm surprised players aren't electing just to try and reduce the arc of their set shots and try and punch it through at the moment, but having not kicked a goal on the waffle, I probably shouldn't comment.
Went off hands. Trying to collect it was Robbins. Ball goes to ground. Sloyth's around there. Ball goes out the back. Still pinging around. Oh, and a volley out of the air as the ball goes to Sloyth and back to Donaldson. Donaldson to Sloyth and Sloyth to Donaldson one more time. Umpire blows his whistle, and Schlensog will kick the ball inboard after the free kick. Salmeri moves it inside. And now kicking it out to the far wing, it'll be taken in by Sokol. Bit of a long way from home. Inboard kick goes to Robbins. Kitchen in the corridor, handballed it forward into space. It's kicked in by Marsh into the goal square, and did he get it? He thinks he does, and he did. Subiaco extend their lead with the goal from, it looks like it was Brought. And we can see it here on the CD Dodd replay. The kick by Marsh, and he's tied up pretty hard with Pearson. And there he is. He just managed to stop on a dime and kick it right into the sponsor sign behind the goal. Really good job there.
Well, the goal umpire, credit to him, was in perfect position.
Job by him
and
too.
Not only that, had the Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminated sunnies on to reduce any kind of glare out there, and he was right on the spot. So, Johnny on the spot. Back in the middle. Subiaco, that's their biggest lead. Out to an even 3 goals now. What can Todd Curley do with the Magnets? Perfect bounce again from the field umpire. Hacked off the ground by Chad Harris, but only into the hands of Schloeth. Looks for an option wider. They're queuing up in the corridor of the Bulldogs, and the kick goes straight down the throat of the Subiaco Lions player in Clark. This has been a feature of their game and throughout the season, just peeling off little 45-degree kicks as Marsh makes a lead, and there it is. Get the protractor out. Steps over the mark, so he's willing to give up some ground to gain. As they go back to true centre-half back, Jordan Lockyer. He's been a very good player this afternoon. No options near side, so has to drive it out to the outer side of the ground. Back to where it all started. Hand pass received by Marsh. Marsh gives it off to Putt. He's got to stoop down, the big man. Fires off a very accurate hand pass. Back into the hands of Clark. Backpedals momentarily before stabbing one down towards left half forward. Not effective this time. Putt taken in the tackle, or is that in the back? No. Kelly gathers. Putt smothered his hand pass. Tries to step through the oncoming traffic. The ball somehow takes a bit of a turn back into the field of play. Clever from Schloeth and Kelly.
Beautiful
now,
from Kelly.
Well, yeah, now they're running out of options as they have to come back literally to the last line of defence, and they elect to pump it back outside 50. High, hanging ball, brought down at ground level, and the kick will be smothered right next to one of the trainers on the outer side, and we'll have a ball in, and South Fremantle, with some slick hands, almost found themselves having to walk the ball over the goal line. They managed to concede. They managed to not concede the scoring shot. Jimmy Miller grabs it straight out of the ruck, tries to follow up with a socker, only as far as Schloeth. Lost track of how many smothers there are today, and unfortunately it's never been a stat that's been kept at any level of football.
Would love to see it.
Because it's a game of will, not skill, and needs courage to throw yourselves onto somebody that's kicking. Another kick partially smothered as it tumbles inside 50. The bodies fall to the floor. They all pile in. The umpire will need to extract another ball up. 9.5 travelled in this third term. South Fremantle finding themselves 18 points behind. Schloeth really starting to rack up the possessions now. Look for Dragovic, but they turn it over. Could this be further misery piled on the Bulldogs? Not on this occasion. So they're walking the tightrope literally at the moment, the Bulldogs, because they've allowed a couple of easy chances for the Lions. Not a team that you can afford to do so. Strong. You can see him motioning to the outer side of the ground and just pumps it as long as he can. Looks for the get out of jail free card, otherwise known as Blake Schlensog, and he will receive the free kick. Was impeded. No one in the grandstand over the outer side on the limestone blocks, keen to fetch the footy. So we had a very, very good look at this in the second term and how Subiaco stopped these exit balls coming out. Subin turns it over.
There they are again.
To Walters. Walters' little dribbler. Got through 3 sets of bodies. Picked up. Hacked forward somehow. That's almost high. Subin has to go on hands and knees. Racks up 2 handballs in the process. Kelly has to try and relieve the pressure by moving it laterally, asking a lot of Donaldson. He's outpointed. Subiaco with the turnover. Back inside 50.
Beautiful.
That was courage. And he had 2 Bulldogs to contend with, Sokol. And he flew in. Had no regard for his safety. And he racks up well and truly, literally. If you want to have a look at this, CD Dodd replay, this is the definition of contested mark right there. Can he get reward? 19 points is the largest lead that we've witnessed in this final fixture. We'll get very close to Strom, the man on the mark. Right foot drop punt on its way. Will it straighten? It doesn't. Just slides off, and another minor score for the Lions, and a chance for them to try and bottle it up again.
Wind playing as big a factor as ever in this matchup as it sails across the face of goal once more. South Freo trying to move it out one more time. Few numbers at the contest. They've done well here as the ball goes back to Sloyth. Sloyth kicking it forward, and Ninyet couldn't quite get there. He was outnumbered by the Subiaco duo, including Angus Dewar and Lewis Putt as he moves around the mark. Good sell of the dummy there. And Subiaco looking strong here. Moving on to it is Matthews, but the ball just evades him and trickles over the boundary line in the left pocket. So a boundary throw in deep in Subiaco territory. They're just going to need one more, and they might be feeling like they're safe. Snap around the body, goes towards the goal square. Ball hits the deck. Players converging in on it. No one can get out of there. Brout had the footy. The umpire will take it off him for a ball up. Ball off hands to Sloyth. Wrapped up by Clark and Co. Hickmott was there as it trickles through for a behind. South Fremantle with another chance to try and get out of here. Subiaco extending their lead to 21 points, the biggest of the afternoon. 5-11-41. They lead South Fremantle 3-2-20 on the Shutter Guard scoreboard. And here are South Fremantle again through Chad Pearson.
Temperature noticeably has dropped here at the ground.
And now South Fremantle with more intent than they've had all quarter. Shaw kicks it over the top. Into the hands of Subin.
Got no one in front of him.
Running onto goal. There's no one home. Sailing through for a behind. 3-3-21 South Fremantle now on the Shutter Guard scoreboard.
Talk about rope-a-dope. I know that's a boxing term, but I mean Subiaco edging just through minor scores and then almost give up one on a fast break to Subin.
Yep, unfortunate for South Fremantle there on the one chance they do get. Maybe affected by the wind again, as both teams have been all afternoon. Lockyer moved it forward. Mark was nearly taken in. South Fremantle trying to move it around, and holding the ball is the call. Hickmott.
It's been good today.
He has been. 10 disposals, that's his 11th. As he bombs it forward.
I thought Schlensok had enough of that.
Yeah, and holding the ball one more time. So good umpiring here today, as it has been all season. Terrific umpiring at this level of footy. As it gets kicked inboard and taken in by Dragovic. And moving it through the corridor, a bit of a mongrel kick there, but it finds the hands of Kelly, the man that you do want to have the footy when he's under pressure. Handballs it off, kick goes out wide, just over the top of the intended receiver. It was Selmeri. Selmeri kicks it in. Kelly's running onto it. Subiaco getting wrapped up. Ball goes to ground, moving it out of there. Putt had to stoop low to collect it. Might have been taken high He was. Hard thing to do on the big man. Probably don't expect him to get that low. Ball goes out to Marsh. Marsh kicked it forward and he was being held off the footy, was Matthews. As the ball looks to have gone into the South Freo interchange bench.
Hasn't been used that much in the ruck this afternoon, Matthews, as he brings it back in. Yeah, he's done an admirable job.
Great job in the ruck.
Full grade. Into the corridor. They've got another option. Eventually gets to Bailey Matera. Max Walters offering his services on the broadcast wing. South Fremantle defenders scrambling to get back forward of this contest. Sokol over his head. Kelly read it best. Schleith back to Pearson. How's that for coolness under pressure? Schlenschog is approaching double digits for marks this afternoon. He's been one of the better competitors for the Bulldogs, but now this is the kick where they get hemmed in. And to show you how well they've done it, Mason Shaw, the spearhead, is just marked backward of right half back. That stayed in? No, it hasn't. So out of bounds in the full.
South Fremantle really struggling under the Subiaco pressure at this point.
High ball towards half forward. Strom read it best. Bit of stagnant ball movement now, so this allows Subiaco to set up behind the ball. And
oh no,
that pressure shows. One that he would want back. Kick squaring off the ground by Kitchen. Gets jarred loose. Bletcherton was on the scene. South Fremantle player ripped down in the tackle. Subiaco praying for the holding the ball. Not going to be rewarded on this occasion. And just having a look at the two benches. Clark on the bench at the moment are waiting to step on from the interchange gates, as is Ninyet and Jimmy Miller, who's done an admirable job as a pinch ruckman today. South Fremantle and Bletcherton in particular just happy to force another stoppage on that outer side. 5-11, 41 to 3-3, 21. It's 16 scoring shots to 6. Rain is still threatening to fall here at Leederville Oval. Pinball. That's gone straight up into that big slipstream, and Shaw just sat under it. Strong pair of mitts brings it down to ground. Kicks down to Schlensog. Speaking of mitts, there they are. I'll get my colleague to have a look how many he's plucked this afternoon as he moves it out towards the outer side. I think that's Donaldson. They're 3 kicks from home with this breeze.
That was his 8th mark of the afternoon.
There we go. You would presume that he would get the double digits. Bell Chambers pumps it forward. Shaw, he was pushed. Umpire didn't agree. Hand pass coming backwards. Nice little centering pass to Schlensog. Did he have his arms chopped? No, said the umpire. Kelly wrapped up, dispossessed. Schleith gathers the crumbs, looks to feed it to Shaw, who waltzes into the open goal. And the Bulldogs faithful, they love it behind the goals to the left of screen. And South Fremantle, they get reward for standing up. They finally get a bit of ball movement. Let's have a look at this. Kelly, slick hands, but look at this from Schleith. Great vision. Shaw, who just taken a mark, backwards of right half back. You can see that he's breathing in the big ones. Schlensog's making his way off the ground. Miller comes back on.
Too. The trade-off for that goal was Schlensog copped a bit of a hit in the air, but you can see him laying down on the replay, but he looks to have got up and seems fine as he jogged off, having a laugh with his teammates.
That's
so
his
looks good.
First goal today, Shaw. He's an absolute workhorse. You see he's just trying to get the O2 back into his system. So we arrive back in the middle of the ground, and that is spiced up the contest.
Big time as we're ready to get back underway. Subiaco, 5 goals, 11-41. South Fremantle, maybe they're closing in, 4-3-27 on the shutter guard score. But ball goes down for Schleith, who got wrapped up and is the beneficiary of a free kick. Runs with a bounce. Kick inside 50, just drops short. And it'll be taken in nicely by Robbins. Moving it forward into a contest, went over the top, trickling towards the boundary. And play stops closer to Subiaco's 50. South Fremantle just need to get the jump on them one more time, and we'll have a contest on our hands as we move in to added time of this third term. 21 minutes of rolling time have gone. Ball goes up once more to ground, almost spilling out the back of the pack. Subiaco getting wrapped up in there. Wind continuing to blow from the left to the right of the screen. So South Fremantle will firstly be the beneficiaries of this free kick, and secondly have the wind advantage in the final term. So that may help them significantly going forward. And I can even start to feel the wind in the commentary box. So picking up very, very significantly. Subiaco moving it around there. Backs at centre half back. The kick goes over the top of Hickmott. Trying to run onto it now, McQuilkin. Collecting it is Martin. Martin with the kick inside. Strong pair of hands from Sokol. He kicks it in and just backing out of the mark. It'll be taken in now by Sloyth. Moved in the direction of Pearson. Back to Sloyth, who's running with some tarmac through the middle. Sloyth just whacks it on the boot. And Subiaco with numbers behind the ball. Running onto it with Jua. Jua with the nice kick. Just went over the top of Marsh. Collecting at the other number 7, Blenchenden. He has a lot of space. And they'll look to switch it out to the far side as it trickled past Newton. Kick over the top. Subiaco taking it in now through Martin, who kicked it forward to left half forward. South Fremantle trying to collect it now. They do. Mascos gets wrapped up and taken out. So South Fremantle still struggling just to get past that last line of the Subiaco defence. And Subiaco, I would suggest, more than happy to keep them in that position. Better not just hope that they get that one more before three-quarter time with the wind advantage. Bombed towards full forward, and a beautiful mark. Strong was underneath it the whole time.
Would not want to be sitting under that thing. Floating up there for that long. That was a great mark.
Not at all. Now Slensog takes his 9th mark of the afternoon. And the kick towards Donaldson was intercepted by Jua, who's been solid in this third term. Stabbed forward by Fulgrave. Bombed inside 50. Going up for it was Robbins. Robbins snap around. It looks like it's on a good line, and it was just touched as it went over. And saving the day was Noah Strom.
Tell you what, any other player, and that's a goal, because Strom's quite a tall man, and that would have been goal of the season. Fair to say in these conditions. Double-digit marks for Schlensog, former Geelong Cat. That hasn't gone the required distance, so Donaldson has to feed it back to him. Up towards Miller, and free as well. Well done, Motlop, applying the pressure. That was clever. In goes Dragovic. Off to Ninyet, and there's a high shot, and it may be coming back to Subiaco, so it is. So Ninyet looked to wheel around, pump them forward. It's got to come back off the ball. So it'll be coming back to Matera, assessing his options. Sokol screaming for the footy, leading up towards him. He has to play on. Lex for the 30-metre Stab pass. Busting through was Subin, but he was dumped heavily in the tackle. He's still down. And the umpire will call for the footy, and it does not look good. Subin, rather ginger getting up. As you can see on screen, let's hope he's okay. He's a wonderful servant for the Fremantle Footy Club. One down at the back by Putt on command. There was Subin, was touched off the boot. Shaw applying some tackling pressure, as does Motlop, but it ends up in the hands of Stainsby. Linking up now. They re-enter 50 towards Walters. Couldn't take the mark. Bulldogs scrambling. They've sent Schlensog back. That ball just bounced over the Lions player. Into the hands now of Fulgrave. He has to circle back to where he came, and unfortunately his kick intercepted. And so will that one. Straight to Harry Marsh. Shouldn't be much longer left in this term. So the turnover results in a shot after the siren at three-quarter time, and this will sting South Fremantle if this can float through, because they have done a pretty admirable job, really, to still stay within touching distance. This would be the ultimate momentum killer. There's Brout lining up. Kicked 12 goals, 5. He's already kicked 1 in the term. One that was very close to the line. So to put more daylight between themselves and the Bulldogs, he obliges. Advantage Lions, return for home. Three-quarter time at Leederville Oval. Subiaco 6-12-48, leading South Fremantle 4 goals, 3-27. That margin 21 points. Will it be too big of a mountain to climb? Find out on the other side of the break, as we will have all the fourth quarter action coming right up.
For the comfort of our fans, the WAFL would like to remind you that this venue is a smoke-free zone.
Shatterguard has been installing Perth's best shutters for over 30 years. With no advertising signs on your front lawn and no sales kit.
Live shots of Subiaco that might be able to reclaim top spot if they can continue their form through three quarters here at Leederville Oval. 6-12-48, leading South Fremantle 4-3-27, and the scoring shots tells the tale, really. 18 scoring shots to 7. South Fremantle mustering the goals, hitting on the counter-attack, really, as Subiaco have dominated possession, they've dominated marks. They just haven't impacted the scoreboard as much as they would have liked. Thanks to CD Dodd Replay, let's have a look at some of the highlights. But tough marking conditions at the moment, and Subiaco at this stage will leapfrog Claremont back into top position unless South Fremantle can get their act together. And in saying that, South Fremantle will have the aid of maybe a 2-goal breeze in this fourth term. Talk us through some of the numbers through to three-quarter time. My trusty colleague and Luke Worthington's here. Matt Chechen's calling all the action. We hope you're enjoying the coverage. Thanks to CD Dodd, Shutterguard, and also Front Row Screens, and of course Optus.
So the story continues with inside 50s. Subiaco with a 21 inside 50 advantages, 42 for them and 21 for South Fremantle, leading that category very, very strongly. Marks 80 to 56. So they're moving it around nicely. They're marking it inside 50. And speaking of inside 50s, that statistic just blowing out for Subiaco as we head to the tackle count. And Subiaco, despite having a large gap in disposals, are leading the tackle count 47. to 39. So they have the ball a lot. When they don't, they're absolute menaces off it. And they've held South Fremantle in their defensive 50 for the majority of that term, like almost putting on a clinic of how to keep the ball.
Thanks for that, Luke
50.
Worthington. Let's have a look at the goal kickers. Michael Brout's kicked 2 goals for Subiaco. Nick Martin's kicked 2 also. Bailey Materia with 1. Ben Sokol, a little inaccurate today. He's kicked 1 goal, 3. They are the goal kickers. Harry Marsh yet to hit the scoreboard yet. He's 0-3 as we have a look at Blake Schlensog. He started the game so brightly. South Fremantle, all individual goal kickers today. So Jesse Motlop, Cody Ninyet, Schlensog, as we just saw after a strong mark, and Mason Shaw kicking 1 literally from the goal line. So not enough firepower at the moment. You can't really blame the forward line at the moment because Subiaco have dominated at the coalface, it's fair to say. Tougher tackling, even though the numbers wouldn't suggest that, but they've made it count. And after a little bit of ill discipline in the early stage of the game, they managed to clean up that and their ball use, and they have got the rewards on the scoreboard.
CD Dodd replay continuing, and there's that goal from Brout. Stomped on a dime, managed to get it through. Sloyth moved that one nicely, and another very similar goal on the CD Dodd replay, thanks to them.
And then Brout after the siren from about 35 metres out on a slight angle. So Subiaco, they'll just want to maintain their pressure, win the contested footy, and they should be able to get home in this one. However, the Bulldogs have shown what a great outfit they are, and they are the reigning premiers, let's not forget. Shaping up to be such an exciting season. It really is tough to pick at least the top 3 teams. You throw in West Perth, that in my opinion could beat anyone on any given day, really, if they're all firing because of such a dynamic half forward line. And Swan Districts, I don't think they'll be there to make up numbers. It'll be at this stage looking like an elimination final against West Perth, and that could be just a cracker in itself. But you just never know. It's just wonderful that it's so hard to pick at this stage of the season.
And regarding West Perth, maybe the chink in the armour will be that sometimes when teams that rely so heavily on scoring, and teams in general, when the scoring doesn't show up, which it can be inconsistent, things tend to, the wheels tend to fall off.
What we need to try and remember also is that Subiaco, their defence is considerably stronger than most of the other, than all of the other teams.
And that's the difference for me. That's the difference to me. Defence is consistent in any sport. Defence is consistent, and attack can get you a 7-game streak, but you need to be able to hold that streak through the finals, and it can be streaky.
So what do we expect from this 4th term? There's a fairly large crowd. It's wonderful to see all these people out. The rain clouds look to have pushed over with that breeze out into the hills area of Perth out to the east. So bright sunshine bathing the ground. Free has dominated the hit-outs. However, Subiaco have dominated the 50s, inside 50s and clearances. So Clark 24 disposals. And Marsh up to 22. Kitchen a quiet 3rd term. Expect big things. Schloith. That's how the Bulldogs want to start. Up towards Ninyet. How clever is that? Back to Schloith. He can set up such a damaging player by foot to Schlensog. Was he pushed? No, said the umpire, and Motlop won't be able to retrieve that before the ball trickles out in front of the South Fremantle faithful there. They followed the full forward line in the attacking end for the Bulldogs every game. So the diehards, wonderful to see. Can they get their team over the line? They'll look to score from this stoppage. Putt, punching it down from behind. Kitchen, bit of basketball to Clark. In goes Harry Marsh. It'll be collected now. They chip dangerously out towards the outer side. Well judged mark. Going back was Chad Harris. After some good work there from Fulgrave. So Harris drives it. Might work out okay depending on the bounce. Crumbs gathered. And this is where Subiaco have been dominant when the ball's up the ground like this. And another stalemate. Jordan Lockyer been very good today. And the ball up. Schloith dumps another player in the tackle. That is hacked literally out of midair. Straight up and down. No marks taken. Kelly tries to gain the advantage. Can't do on this occasion. Oh, going in courageously was Bletcherton. Did well to bounce straight back up. Fed it off to Free, the ruckman. He swings it wide. Strom walking the tightrope, but the mark will be paid. Better signs from South Fremantle. Must have been some strong words from Todd Curley as the ball gets put inside 50. There goes Motlop. Dispossesses his opponent, holding the ball. Fantastic work. I've liked his work rate this afternoon. Jesse Motlop. He's kicked 2 goals on the season entering this round 16 fixture. Kicked 1 earlier today. And as do a lot of young players now, stand perpendicular to the goal face. So he can take his season tally to 4. This to give the Dogs a sniff. Has he snuck it home?
Not
He
quite.
raised his arm and it must have only just floated over the goalpost. And through for a minor score. So Subiaco, they've been put on the back foot early stages. Better signs for the Bulldogs.
The breeze helping them significantly. Let's see if they can move it out, as South Fremantle struggled to do in the third term against the breeze. And it looks good so far as it moves through the corridor. Might have been a push in the back. No, it wasn't, as play continues and they have numbers running forward. Chip goes over the top. It's Harris on the outside, kicking it in, and the mark is taken. Beautiful movement of the footy from Subiaco as Bailey Matera.
And he did well too, because he started that about 120 metres from goal. So he sprinted to get to that contest and gives himself a set shot.
Going for the snap again, as we saw before, and that one went out of bounds, hitting the left behind post. So not too bad. They get a second chance at this. A point wouldn't have been much help. They need that goal and they'll have a chance here. Ball goes to ground. Crummer was Marsh, couldn't quite get it. Wrapped up Subiaco. Umpire says ball up. A few extracurriculars on the ground. Players trying to untangle, playing a bit of a game of Twister in the forward 50. And Kitchen has his kick smothered straight into his teammate's hands. He gets wrapped up. Both players flapping on the ground like it was rugby league for a second there. South Fremantle bombing it out of trouble. Went off the hand of Matera. Bailey, that is. Walters moved it out nicely. And the kick from Heel sails through for a behind. And this is where we might see again that beautiful Subiaco pressure. Nearly collecting it was Miller. Went over the top. Subiaco nicely moving it through Dewar. Kitchen had it. Got belted in the tackle. And South Fremantle now with possession of the footy. Blenchenden had the left foot kick smothered. Going to collect his own ball on the far wing. And his teammate moving on to the contest, couldn't quite get there. Subiaco pumping it inside 50 again. Nice mark taken. Sleuth with a kick out of trouble. Slensog. That is his 11th mark of the afternoon, and a good one it was, as he finds his wrecking ball of a teammate in Manfred Kelly, who boots it in, and beautiful tracking of the ball by Lewis Putt, who's going to turn it over for Subiaco. Looking to move it around the horseshoe now. Instead, the kick goes out to the far wing, and with a lot of space, the Lions move it up there. Harrison Marsh with the kick out towards Matera. Matera chips it through beautifully, finds Brown. Matera one more time. Matera kicking it in. Walters had his attempt smothered. South Fremantle now don't look too bad at all. Moving it out of their bell chambers. Got the handball off. Kick through the corridor. Mark was nearly taken. was spoiled well by Harris. The kick goes out to the far side. And the snap around the body just evaded the smother to right half forward. Bulldogs trying to move it out of trouble, dancing around on the far wing. They chip it forward, and look who it is again.
If they can get the switch on quickly, they could be out here.
And they do have numbers on that side, and they're going to move it out far for Isaac Clinch, who kicks it nicely towards Robbins. Robbins has a few runners in the 50, found a better option on the left-hand side in Hickmott. Hickmott kicked it to left half forward, and the ball goes sailing inside over the top of Schloith. Didn't get all of it, did Martin. And now Schloith trying to chip it forward, but it's gone off a body. Martin trying to move with it. Now Clark, the handball just evaded Sokol, but there's a bit of a wrestling match going on just by the paint of 50 involving Hayden Schloith. A few extracurriculars there.
You know, not sure what happened there, but...
And it looks like Subiaco
all the umpires are in on the same.
Have a free kick. So Harrison Marsh is going to line up.
North 3.
Yeah, North 3. So struggled a little bit. The wind is going diagonally across the face of goal, left to right for him. So he's going to have to shape it nicely. And moving into the middle stages of the fourth term, is this the dagger? It could be, as Marsh puts one more up for Subiaco. 7:13:55. Subiaco leading South Fremantle 4-4-28 on the Shutterguard scoreboard.
Thanks to CD Dodd.
Good view on the replay there. He shaped it in nicely. We had a good view of it from our commentary position.
Got a bit to say too, and why wouldn't you? So he gets his first 1-3 this afternoon. Just continuing another very good season. 32 games now for Subiaco, last couple of seasons, and as what happens in modern day footy, kick a goal, you get dragged. 7:13:55, 4-4-28. Bulldogs will need the next 2 or 3. Still time. Haven't approached 10 minutes yet on the Shutterguard scoreboard. Skewiff bounce, one down by Putt. Schloith will gather. Looks to wheel away from the contest, does so efficiently towards Shaw. Could have marked, but did well to keep the footy in front of him. Lions get numbers. Kelly lays the effective tackle. Shaw's back there now. That's gone straight up. It's a flare. Now to play. Breeze still picking up. Blowing this ball back towards the boundary line. Well done, Putt again. Crafty jumping from a couple deep. Subin got rolled in the tackle, and somehow the ball ended up in the hands of Subiaco. Kitchen just grabbed straight out of the ruck. They've got runners running through. Big fly from Ninyet. Couldn't reel in the mark, unfortunately for him. Back out, side 50. What on Schloith? Now, that kicker would have travelled 15. They all fly. Shaw was one of them. Kelly the other. Couldn't take the mark. Motlop looks for friendly teammates, but they've run into a roadblock and no prior opportunity. So just met head on by Liam Hickmott. Wrestle and a hold. It will go to the blonde-haired ruck in Putt. And shows too much of it. Turns it over. Chance for the Bulldogs to reload. Will that be paid? It's reminiscent of Josh Kennedy's mark a couple of weeks ago. That was paid. Here comes Subiaco looking to rebound from defensive 50. High hanging hand pass. They just take the game on. Hickmott. He's got room to operate. Matera, gut running. Now the kick's down the ground. So Bulldogs player just giving pick one to go on with. So Matera will gather, too far out to score. It's got Nick Martin leading. Elects to go further afield. It might just be marked inside the field of play. The long arms of Oscar Matthews.
Beautiful mark there. Kept his toes in like it was a catcher on the boundary in the NFL.
199 centimetres. He's looking around for options. He might have to go for the banana in the end. Hits the wrong side of the ball. Floats it across the face of goal. Crumb has come from everywhere. Full grade with the chaos ball. Hasn't travelled 15. Strom on hands and knees. He'll be happy for the umpire to blow his whistle. He'll come in and clear some of the debris around this contest. One down by 3. Player ducked into that tackle, so that's why it wasn't high. They're not going to exit 50 at this stage. Brandon Matera cleverly onto the left boot, but unfortunately no one at home there for the Lions. And Chad Pearson, he's been really good today. Subin, end over end. Rare for him to waste the footy like that. Into the arms of Dewar. He spots a target in his captain. Has to honour that lead, surely, if you're the skipper. And he, in turn, moves it on. And into the arms of Sokol. A chance for his second of the day. He kicked one in the second term, so he used to kicking. He has kicked one at this end of the ground. But this will take his best effort.
So Sokol to really dig the knife in for Subiaco. 1-3 on the day. Had 14 touches of the footy. 7 marks, that was his 8th. From far out, he has lovely. The distance and a beautiful kick. And Subiaco moving out of touching distance. 8-13-61. They lead the Bulldogs 4-4-28 on the Shutterguard scoreboard. The CD dot replay.
Yeah, well, as we have a look at the replay, I just realised Sokol's goal was actually to the right of the screen, his earlier one, but needless to say, he's bookended it. 1 in the 4th and 1 in the first term, and his teammates, his compatriots there on the goal line, they knew it as soon as it left his boot. Yep. So he now is up to 29 goals on the season. Will keep him in the top 5. That chase for the Bernie Naylor medalist, you would suggest that Keitel's going to run away with that one. And he's matched his output of round 5 of 2 goals.
So, Putt has been outstanding all afternoon. Here he is in the ruck again. 24 hit-outs. Hamish Free on the other side has had 27. It's been a solid contest from start to finish. South Fremantle bombing it inside. Subiaco trying to get numbers there. Running onto it nicely was Fulgrave. He managed to get it out of there. Now with the footy, Marsh. Handballed it across. Kick chip forward. Brought down was Blenchenden. Went out of the pack. Subiaco. Clark. Went off a hand to Sloyth. Now bombing it inside 50. South Fremantle. What can they do here? Ball gets smothered down. Fulgrave again. And the mark is brought in nicely by Lewis Putt. One of the standout performers of the game today for Subiaco. Has stepped up big time with the absences in the ruck. Ball got smothered. It trickled out of bounds. 15 minutes have gone on the Shutterguard scoreboard, nearly 16. And Subiaco in a promising position. Look to have ground out a needed victory today to possibly put themselves on top of the table. Kick goes inside 50 from South Fremantle. Subiaco looked good again, but the umpire didn't like that. And some extracurriculars after the whistle.
I'm not sure what Nick Subin was doing then. He just bull rushed his opponent. This game has had a bit of nastiness, it's fair to say. He's Maybe pleading he didn't hear the whistle, and the captain of Subiaco disagrees.
Subiaco setting up nicely across the back line now. They have the options. They need to switch it out wide. They chip it forward, and the mark is taken in. Very happy to slow things and let time bleed down. They're set up beautifully across the back line, but they kick it forward through the middle and have a lot of numbers surrounding the footy. Punt managed to get it out of there. The ball will trickle over the boundary line one more time. So if we have a look at the ladder, with the win, Subiaco will move into top spot. Their percentage without this game currently sitting at 140. Claremont's at 124.79 as they bring it in again. Ball going out to the far wing. Mark taken in by Matera. And hesitates before putting it onto his right boot. The ball went out of bounds.
So another stoppage. Let's have a look at some of the possession winners. Hayden Schleuf has been massive in this fourth term, 27 touches. And Greg Clark leading all comers with 29. Harry Marsh, some game from him, 27 touches, 6 marks and 8 inside 50s. As we see the ball come back in, Putt got a shove in the back. Subi, as they have had all afternoon, just numbers around the side of the pack. Stray kick's going to be chopped off. Up towards Schlensog. Out-muscled this time. Subiaco can clear. Bulldogs do well to keep it in. Up towards Motlop. Dewar. Hand pass asked a lot of his teammate, but somehow got it back and then fires it over the line. Brandon Matera today, 20 touches, 11 marks, 4 inside 50s. Had a couple of chances to hit the scoreboard, unfortunately hasn't. Pretty good game. It's going to be tough to pick the votes. Bletcherton, he's not giving up to Schlenschog, who manages to win front position this time. And you know what happens when that ball is anywhere near grasping, he will get it. As Ninyet steps back onto the field.
That's 12 marks today, totaling his season high from round 6.
It's one thing to have big mark numbers, but the fact that most of them have been contested,
yes,
is just amazing. So can he polish it off with
shape
a goal?
Looked good, but
it did, didn't it? In the right hand goal post, still shuddering. Doesn't get the reward, but I wonder if he might have a second chance of going into the AFL system possibly next year. Who knows? They bring it in. Content to just assess options is Lockyer. Dewar. Goes to a 2-on-1. Worked his opponent under it well. There was Nick Martin, and he can gather. Subi in the hands of Kitchen now. Off to a flat-footed teammate in Harry Marsh, but did well to compose himself. Towards right half forward. Back to Kitchen. Hand pass. Just gets to its intended target. Back to Kitchen. A couple of easy touches for him. Matera. Was that a push? No. Turned back into traffic, however. South Fremantle scrambling at the moment. Strom's there. Is that high? No. And we'll wait. And the umpire will come in and try and separate the feud. Noel Strom again on the scene, and a couple of rip jumpers by the looks of it. Yep. Just inside the paint of 50. Free won it down quite convincingly. Somehow socked forward. And that's kicked out further wide. It did just pitch inside the line and out of play for another throw in. Just going through the motions now at the moment on the Shutterguard scoreboard. 21 scoring shots to 9. Dominant display. And the boundary umpire, they'll have that one recalled. Everyone battling the elements today. Having a run is Oscar Matthews now in the ruck. Did well to establish the front position, but Free gets the clearance in the end. Towed back to where it came. Back into the hands of Kitchen. Looks to centre towards Martin. Well sport at the back. That's a rare fumble from Schleuf. Still did so well to feed it off to Strom. Kelly about to get run down. Incorrect disposal. So Kelly just took maybe half a step too much. Pearson coming in now with Kelly, and cooler heads hopefully will prevail, but that was a fantastic chase down tackle. We're kicking into the breeze, so going to take his best effort, you would suggest. And while the Bulldogs are arguing with the umpire, they allow a cheap mark and a shot for goal, which will sail through. So they get the last laugh from that scuffle. And just like that, Kitchen hits the scoreboard, gets his 5th goal of the season, and that was a cheapie too, because they were so far out, not looking to score after that wonderful chase down tackle. But Kitchen, who was coming off the ground, he had a bit of leather poisoning in the last 5 minutes. Lost track of how many times we called his name. And gets his due reception from the crowd as Will Hickmott replacing him, and it's just going to be a matter of adding to percentage now for Subiaco. Shutterguard scoreboard 9-13-67, South Fremantle 4-5-29, and we have just ticked over 23 minutes in this final term.
Kitchen leading the disposals for Subiaco. Now that was his 31st of the afternoon. Great stat line for him. 31 possessions, 7 tackles, 11 inside 50s and a goal. A+ for that effort. Greg Clark just behind him. Skewiff bounced in the middle. Clark, 30 disposals, 4 tackles, and inside 50 as well. Rucks go up for it. South Fremantle collect it. Kick it to the top of centre half forward. Ball going to ground. Couldn't get it out of there. It was smothered by Ward, who gets wrapped up in a tackle. The umpire will have it. So
3 goals, 1 kicked this term to Subi, to just the 2 behinds for South Fremantle with the aid of the breeze.
Sloyth couldn't get the handball past Hickmott, but he pumps it inside 50 now, running onto it. Heel over the top, it'll be taken in by Hickmott again. Got a nice handball away. Subiaco moving it forward now. Looked like Sokol might have had the sun in his eyes, and so did his opponent. Wrapping up the player in the tackle was Shaw. Going to ground for the footy, Martin. Now with the footy, it's Hickmott. He chips it forward. South Fremantle running onto it. Ball gets punched and taken in by Dragovic. Now Stainsby. The kick goes forward. It's marked nicely in the corridor. Subiaco moving it well. Looks like the sun might be a bit of a factor here now. It seems to have popped out from behind one of the clouds as the kick goes in and unattended. The mark is taken in from Brown. Subiaco looking to extend their lead and that percentage that they have even further. Brout, 2 goals zip on the afternoon, has been solid all game. And a big scuffle just off our screen between everybody has resulted in a 50-metre penalty. So Brout from directly in front to truly end things for Subiaco today.
3 goals for him. He's had a great afternoon, hasn't he?
And that was the easiest one of them all. 10-13-73. They lead South Fremantle 4-5-29 on the Shutterguard scoreboard as time bleeds further and further down. And the siren at this point will be welcome for South Fremantle.
Well, let's have a look towards next week now, because Subiaco will be back here at Leederville Oval taking on West Perth, and that would probably be, you would say, the game of the round.
Easily.
And South Fremantle are going to have to travel down to David Gray's Arena, not an easy place to play, and a long trip also to take on Peel Thunder. So the action will still come thick and fast as we return to the middle of Leederville Oval. Approaching 27 minutes gone. Putt with two hands to Kitchen. Plenty of time for Robbins to gather. Had that fantastic chase down tackle earlier to Putt. Kick was smothered. Chance now for South Fremantle to go forward. No one really at home, so getting back is Angus Dewar. Collects himself. And down the ground, another needless free kick given away. This time it was Jimmy Miller that just dropped his opponent after the ball. And that will do it. Convincing. Subiaco return atop of the Optus WAFL ladder after round 16. In a game where they were really troubled, it is fair to say. Dominating performance, 10 goals, 13, 73. Defeating the dismal Bulldogs this afternoon at least, 4-5, 29. 23 scoring shots to 9. They had plenty of possession winners, the Bulldogs, but just not enough goal kicking today, not enough inside 50s. Like Schlensog really stood up today, and that man on screen in Brout, he kicked 3 goals this afternoon. And alongside Nick Martin, who also kicked 2, and Ben Sokol, they just had a nice and better spread of goal kickers today, did Subiaco. Too much firepower.
Too much firepower indeed. Multiple goal scorers. Just struggling to move the stats sheet to see them in order, but Brout led the way with 3. Nick Martin, he had 2. Sokol had 2. Goal from Bailey Matera, as well as goals from Harrison Marsh and Lee Kitchen. It was a solid outing from the forwards and a solid outing all around from Subiaco. They led the disposal count of 383 to 239. Outmarked them by a significant degree. Out-tackled them as well. Inside 50 count, stacked in their favour, 51 to 34. And especially in that third quarter, put on an absolute clinic in how to trap an opposing team inside their defensive 50. They just did not let up, even for the moments that they weren't scoring.
Well, the Bulldogs put up a fight in the first term. They took it right up to Subiaco.
Yep.
Scores were locked at 2-1 apiece after the first change. And then the second term, the Lions started to assert their dominance. They had a 10-point lead at the major break. And then from there, it was all maroon and gold, because Subiaco piled on 6 goals, 7 in the second half. And South Fremantle could only muster the 1 goal through 2 quarters of footy. 1 goal, 3 they kicked in the second half, and that was the difference. Just before we wrap up, as our CD Dodd final highlights roll, just take us through some of the ball winners this afternoon. First of all, for the victorious Lions.
Yeah, so Greg Clark led the way, 31 disposals. Lee Kitchen tied with him on 31 as well. Harrison Marsh had 28, and then dropping down a little bit further, Chad Harris had 22. An outstanding game from him. Nonetheless, Brandon Matera with 22 as well. On the other side, Hayden Schloith led the way for South Fremantle, 29 disposals. Chad Pearson had a brilliant game in the back line with 25. Blenchenden with 23, and Schlensog with 18, and 12 of them were marks, and you'd say that pretty much all of those marks were contested as well. So great outing from quite a few players today. Matt Chechens, and yeah, just a clinic put on from Subiaco in some tough conditions today.
So just re-summing up Optus round 16 for the WAFL season for 2021. Earlier winners were East Perth. Rather, they went down by 2 points rather. The West Coast Eagles reserves points winning Swan Districts with a win. West Perth defeating Peel. Claremont getting the better of East Fremantle, and today the Subiaco Lions easily accounting for the reigning premiers of 2020. So still a lot to play for. Subiaco in top, Claremont will be relegated back to second position. They've got East Perth next week, and currently sitting in third will be the Bulldogs, but snapping at their heels will be the West Perth Falcons, and then Swan Districts in fifth. Round 17 next week, East Fremantle hosting Swan Districts. 2:10, that's on Saturday, July 31 at New Choice Homes Park. And then having a look, Subiaco will be back here at Leederville Oval on Saturday, taking on West Perth. Peel Thunder will host South Fremantle. Both teams looking to bounce back after disappointing losses. And maybe the game of the round as far as evenly matched teams. Perth taking on West Coast at Mineral Resources Park could be interesting. Two teams in a battle for the wooden spoon and trying to avoid that. And then Sunday, we'll see East Perth hosting Claremont here at Leederville Oval. A lot will be on the line there for Claremont, you would suggest. Luke Worthington, thank you so much for your valuable input and calling throughout, and look forward to further input from you moving forward on in the season. And on behalf of all the team here at Front Row Screens, Matt Williamson, and behalf of Luke Worthington, this is Matt Chetson signing off. We look forward to your company next week in the OPTUS WAFL season for season 2021. Enjoy what's left of your weekend, folks.